Bam, we're live. Spell the last name of the guest on the missing Sevan. Spell the last name of the guest on the missing Sevan podcast episode, please. Oh, where do you mean? On Rumble or something?
I just want to know how to spell the last name. Isn't it Couehe?
No, just Couyey, Cooey, J Cooey. Okay, you mean go over to Rumble? His name's not in there. It doesn't say J Cooey.
No, I think they just want to know so they can find it.
Oh, J Cooey, Couey, J Cooey. He was great this morning, wasn't he? Hey, Sean, what's up?
Yo.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
Oh, we got an echo. I think we have an echo.
Yeah, there's like some weird fuzz sound.
Sean, I think that's coming from you, brother. Do you have your YouTube page open, maybe?
No, but hold on.
Better.
That was better, yeah.
Is that better?
Oh, money.
Good?
Yeah, except it's really good if you're the person who left their cocaine at the White House. It looks like they've given up trying to figure out who it is. This is crazy.
Sweep it under the rug.
How do don't they have 800 million cameras there?
Don't they have 800 million cameras in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Oh.
Coming out hot.
What happened in Vegas? What happened in Vegas?
I'm saying inside the casino. The guy shot everybody up apparently, and there's just no footage of anything.
Oh, is that recently? Or are you talking about the guy who shot from his window down into the parking
from
lot?
The window, yeah,
down into the parking lot. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, I'd like to see video footage of him kicking the window through or shooting the window.
Oh, there's no even footage of that?
No.
God, how is
hurricane proof windows?
How is there no proof from anyone? Everyone has a camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What, you good, right?
Who knows?
Sean, good to see you. I'm Sevan. I'm down here with the green CEO shirt. Bald guy over there is Caleb Beaver, and then next to you is Matt Souza. And great to have you on.
Yeah. Likewise.
God, you're prolific. How'd you get into? How old are you?
38.
Man, you are grinding.
Thank you.
How did you get into filmmaking?
Well, I mean, from a young age, I was into music production, so I would produce music in Chicago. I lived in Chicago, and I always had little part-time jobs or I guess you'd call them full-time jobs a long time ago. But there was always some passion for production, passion for creating something, and getting my hands on something, making something, like saying, "Hey, I made this." And music was my first love in that field, and then I started doing combination videos for sports teams. So, like especially 2016, for instance, that was kind of my final year. But I'm giving you an example that when the Chicago Cubs won the World Series, I made they call them hype videos. So I made a hype video for the Cubs, and a bunch of sports companies wanted to hire me right away.
Awesome.
So I started doing little hype videos for the Cowboys, just regular, different sports, different teams. And because I always liked, even when I was little, I used to take 2 VCRs, put my Michael Jordan recordings from VHS, highlights of games, replays. So basically, if Jordan did something crazy, the replay would start. I'd hit record on my VCR as a child, and I would record the replay knowing I'm going to use that for something. And I'd have this tape filled with, recorded highlights of replays. And then I would sync it up with music that I recorded from the FM radio on a cassette tape. Okay. So I'd record the cassette tape, and then I would literally make a hype video when I was 8, So I did it then too. So once I started getting income from it, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this the rest of my life. Screw a 9 to 5. But then all of a sudden, just the storm of truth hit my world in 2014. My mom passed. I was big into researching cancer and how she passed and all that jazz. And basically it just led me down a bunch of rabbit holes of health, diet, and related videos. If you guys can remember those days where they would recommend something juicy for you, that's something that you were actually interested in. regarding your algorithm that you created for yourself, not the controlled algorithm that they have today. So I started getting video pop-ups for a video called 200 Proofs the Earth is Not a Spinning Ball by a gentleman named Eric Dubay. And I didn't click it at first, but eventually, it kept popping up in related videos. I said, okay, I don't even know what that means. Let me watch this. About halfway through the video, I just said, you know what? Rather than just believing some guy talking, because, man, he sounded smart, right? I said, let me go to nasa.gov, right, for myself. This is what I did for myself, because a lot of rabbit holes in the world, this is a crazy one, right? So I was like, let me just put this to rest. Let me just quickly prove the Earth's a globe. It should take, and this was about 2015, maybe 20. Actually, towards the end of 2014 is when I started looking into it, and I just wanted to get out of the misery of it all. So I just said NASA.gov, most reliable source. Taxpayers pay for everything. They better be doing something. And again, in my mind, in 2014, 2015, it's like there's 360 virtual reality by then. So it wasn't that long ago is my point. And it's like, what do you got for me? I want to see some POV, out of the whatever thermosphere or whatever they call it into some crazy shit where there's satellites orbiting everywhere and space junk floating and other ships like, hey, Bill, like, I just want to see some shit. Right. And I looked for weeks and I couldn't sleep, and I didn't know who to talk to. I used to feed into my peers back in Chicago about it. Like, hey, what do you got? Go find something for me. I'm losing my mind. Find me something.
Sorry to interrupt, Sean.
No. I could go, man.
You wanted a camera angle that was high enough up of the Earth to prove? Is that what you're saying? You wanted to see some video of the Earth from far enough away to where you could prove it was globe? Is that what you're saying?
No, I wanted to
what you were looking for.
I wanted to see something real on NASA's site. I wanted to see NASA footage that wasn't obvious fisheye lens or wasn't, cartoons. So I was really hopeful to find it on my own. And then when I couldn't find anything that looked genuine, I'm not gullible. So I'm like, hold on. As an adult, I'm like, I've never looked at this stuff. It's like we don't really sit back as an adult and watch it. Besides, again, I'm talking pre 2014. Let's be real. I mean, ever since the word of flat Earth or whatever, that people know what I'm talking about. But before 2014, no one's watching that shit, man. No one's watching. No one sits there and watch NASA, watch the full 3-hour ISS. No one's sitting there. No one watches it. And you go to YouTube, they have 14,000 views. Like, I mean, no one cares.
What is that ISS? What is that? Something from the International Space Station? You're talking about video from the International Space Station?
Yeah, the International Space Station, fake station. They proclaim that it's going 17,500 miles an hour in orbit. I know that most people can't even fathom how fast 17,500 miles an hour is. So they write it off. They short circuit their brain and they, I don't know, some guy in a lab coat wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, whatever. And they just, accept it. But I don't accept it because not only does it not look like 17,500 miles an hour should probably look, you can see many, many times when they're on the ISS, when they're pretending to be inside the capsule doing their, distractions for everyone. Look, we got ping pongs and water balls and all this stuff. Wait, can't you just like die at any second? You're orbiting 17.5K around with space junk everywhere, all this crap everywhere. Who's operating it, by the way? They never show someone like, hey, we're driving. They're just playing ping pong and putting gorilla suits on and chasing one another and stuff. It's all a show. And when they get caught, I think it's on purpose. Call it revelation of method, call it truth in plain sight, call it whatever you like. But
was that image that we just saw, was that live that Caleb just pulled up? That was supposedly a live stream that anyone can watch?
Yeah. That's supposedly live. Yeah. That's supposedly real. Yeah.
Sean, let me go back for a second. What kind of cancer did your mom have?
We still don't know necessarily in terms of like, it started in the breast. Then she got it removed and the surgery went okay. And all of a sudden it came back with a vengeance. And this was way before my knowledge of even pretend health expertise. I know a lot of health experts. So it's like, I didn't know anything back then about anything really. I knew about 9/11, moon landing, normal stuff that they lie about, but I mean, nothing like cancer. It's just, at 30 years old, it's like, that's not something you feel like you need to research much, but it forced me to, that's for sure.
What did you learn about cancer?
Well, for me, it's self-generating, self-mutating. It's your fault. For the most part, there are rare cases. There's rare cases of anything in any condition, really. But for the most part, and I mean that with respect. But yeah, I mean, you're doing it to yourself. So, that it's reversible, and that it is. There are points of it. Even stage 3, whatever you want to call it, higher. You can reverse that, and I've learned that along the way, and have seen things, heard things,
lifestyle choices, you mean, basically?
Yeah. Well, again, when people go, hey, well, I'm going to die of breast cancer at 50 because my mom did and her mom did. And I'm like, what's on your dinner plate? What's on your dinner plate? What's on your page there. What's that like? I don't know. That's just my opinion. But I mean, from my research, at least, it's opinion based off research that is pretty much self-done, whether it be via cigarettes, whatever. Because people can go, hey, my grandpa smoked cigarettes till 90 and never died at 90. I mean, that sucks. He could have lived till 120, 130. Did you ever come
across Otto Warburg, that name?
I've never heard the name, though.
He's a guy. He was a scientist, a Jew living in Nazi Germany during World War II. He won 2 Nobel Prizes. Hitler only let him claim 1. He's the father of photosynthesis, and he won the Nobel Prize for discovering that cancer was a metabolic disease. And the irony is that he discovered that in 1940, won the Nobel Prize for it, but almost none of cancer research, 99% of all money spent in cancer research never looks at metabolic disease. And what you're talking about is metabolic disease. He discovered that in the 40s, but all of the money is being funneled to elsewhere to look for.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Cancer research centers are
crazy. Yeah.
Black holes,
crazy.
Man.
Yeah. Okay. So you go to you find out about some flat Earth and I don't like the term flat Earth, boss, man. We live on a stationary plane. Whatever this realm is, we're still trying to figure out. The official narrative is that we're on a ball hurling through space in 4 different directions. With a magma core and this 4,000 miles in the center, and gravity is forcing everything. That's all a narrative that was painted along with the Board of Education, in my opinion. Rockefeller in 1920. This is when they really pushed hard for this structure. All the public schools changed. They were still teaching. I won't call it flat Earth because, again, that term has been jacked up, man. True Earth, or how about Earth? This is where we live, guys. The public schools were just teaching where we lived. Okay. And they had a Gleason's map in most public libraries in the United States through the 20s and 30s. It was a battle starting then to get that crap out so the Rockefellers and their Goonies can get their books in. And people just have to go back. Look, my buddy Dave Weiss, he interviewed somebody 102 years old at the time. Ruth, I'm sorry, I forgot her last name, but Ruth is her first name. And she's in my film, The Next Level, as well. But she was 102 years old. She said they weren't teaching any of that in public school. In public school in Connecticut. There was no Globe mention. There wasn't a whisper of it when she was growing up. And so that to me, that's raw truth to me. Like, wait a minute. And that age limit is fading right now. It's almost cut off to a point where they're not going to either they're going to be already out of school by the switch or when it started. So it's you look at some newspaper articles, same thing. You see schools fighting. We don't want to teach this. We don't want to teach this in our school. There was people almost getting arrested for trying to teach this in the school. People were trying to get them arrested for teaching heliocentrism. They called it blasphemy. And then what they did was they said, look, what are we going to do, boss? Whoever the bosses are, we don't know. But what happened was they quickly said, okay, the religious people specifically are freaking out over this. There's lawsuits going. There's who knows what's going on back then. That was the craziest time to me ever, in my opinion. I'm sorry, is the 1920s. A million things happen and no one looks over them. But in 1920, again, they pull out George Lemaitre, a Catholic priest. They knew they were losing this battle. Okay.
The world did not want this system and this heliocentric bullshit. So and what happened was the schools started to shift into Rockefeller's favor. I'm assuming because of free lunches, free books, free whatever the
during the Great Depression.
Correct. Yeah. There's a lot of things right in that
go a long way. Yeah.
Right in that time zone. Correct. Sevan. But here's the thing, man, real quick, to finish this point, the actual, the fable that they did is they spun a story to everybody because they knew the religious people they're not going to do it. So they brought forth a Catholic priest. Hey, here's this guy named George Lemaitre. He's a Catholic priest. He's probably friends with the Pope, but he's real good friends with Albert Einstein. Okay. This is where the torch was passed. And Lemaitre came forward and said, hey, everybody, I'm a man of God. The earth's not flat. We're a ball. We came from a Big Bang. Okay. So he's the godfather of the Big Bang theory that we just exploded. Okay. So again, that came from this guy's mind. And he was like walked in with Einstein. Einstein was like, seemed mentally challenged at times. If you hear him talk, actually, he just reads scripts. He's not an intelligent man. He's just a script reader, like a lot of people on TV now. But here's the thing. George Lemaitre was brought in to, in my opinion, cradle the religions to say, hey, look, I mean, Big Bang is cool because it's backed by this guy. And he's a priest. He's not a scientist. He's not anti anything. You got to respect that white, whatever the heck that thing's called. And back then they probably did even way more than now. So
let me see his wiki page, Caleb. I want to see what else he is. Is he a physicist? It's pretty trippy to think that this guy's, he's an astronomer.
Oh, I'm sure they threw mathematician and astronomer on there.
Yes.
Yeah. Theatrical physicist. That makes sense.
Yeah. Theoretical physicist, mathematician, astronomer, professor of physics at the Catholic University of Louvain.
And that all came after his priesthood. They just handed him. They just passed the baton and said, "You're the next wind. You're the next wave here of heliocentrism because we have to." The religious cults, I'll call them, especially at that time, all those cults of religions were like, "Dude, we don't live on a ball. What are you talking about? We're clearly not moving." It's like you have to sell people on. Not trusting their senses, which is easy to do nowadays. People wearing 2 masks still walking their dog. But, it's like back then it was probably easier. It was probably easier back then.
It is a trippy time that people have outsourced their discernment. And so they've outsourced their discernment and they're trusting what other people say and believe. I do want to drill down into the stationary Earth and ideas that aren't the globalist view of the Earth. But let me go big picture here a second. Where do you stop with, or all of, let's say, so someone called me today and was poking fun at me. I told him I was having you on. I'm like, hey, you should check out his movies. They're pretty cool. They'll fuck with your peanut a little bit. And he goes, oh, next are you going to have someone on who doesn't believe dinosaurs are real? And
they're not.
Say it again.
Said they're not real, but go ahead.
Oh, good. Okay.
Awesome.
Are all of these sort of stories that are first of all, are all of these stories being generated by the same, I don't know if this is the right word, organization?
You talking about the hypnotic spell everyone's under in terms of heliocentrism? Or are you talking about all
the things that the things that are molding us, afraid of nuclear bombs, afraid of COVID, tell us the earth is round. Now they're trying to tell us that it's okay for kids to suck on men's nipples.
Exactly. Yeah. And boys to be girls.
Pedophilia, all this stuff is this all
it's demonic.
I don't believe in that.
For me, it's demonic. This is a spiritual war that's going on. And what paints the picture of something completely different is the television. And it even tricks people that think that they're alternative, think that they're against.
What demonic means, because when I hear that, I think it's intellectually lazy. Whenever I hear that, I think,
okay.
So help me understand what demonic means.
Well, I mean, in a reality sense, the lowest vibrational standpoint a human can be, the demons that, it's one of those things, man. Well, yeah, I guess it's a personal belief in the sense of angels and demons and things like that. But I feel like there's a war going on right now. It's an actual spiritual war between demons that we don't even know anything about. And we're just peasants to everybody, man. We're peasants to them. People call these people elite. You're praising them by calling them elite. That's a good word to say. They're pieces of shit. They're pedophiles. They steal our children. They drink our children's blood. They live off of our fear. They lie to us all the time, right to your face, right to your children's face. They will steal your children. It's like these are the people that the normal society still supports on a daily basis. Okay. Now, some of those are, in my opinion, mentally and spiritually demonic in the sense of lowering their vibration and hiring their IQ on maybe tapping into the universe. Figuring out, well, again, I mean, they know that these stars, even the ones on top, they know that the stars are not 36 trillion miles away. They know that those vibration, the vibration from the frequencies above, the lights in the sky above us, I know they're called planets, wandering stars, or the stars, or the universe, whatever as a whole. Everything that's rotating around our head, all those lights, they're beautiful, right? That they're here for us. And I feel like the ancients always spoke about this as well. But, you know, you look at our ancients, I mean, that we're still taught a false narrative in school about history in terms of who came before us and what was here before us. And they leave remnants all over the world for people to see, even half destroyed buildings because they didn't want you to see what they had technology before our time that blows this shit out of the water, man. And there's evidence of that still you can see today. And I always ask people, what do you think the World's Fair actually was? The World's Fair was a gathering, in my opinion, based on research, a gathering of the elite at the time to show off the technology that they stumbled upon in this new system that they're creating here. I don't know if there was a reset. I don't know what happened before us. I wasn't there. I don't get into things I don't know. I mean, how could someone know that? But in the same sense, I'm not stupid either. And when I see these cathedrals, when I see these buildings that are being hidden from our official narrative, it's a red flag. So for me, if the history books in school, which are also Rockefeller funded and Rockefeller, perpetrated to begin with, if our history books are made up, meaning including your Western and draw and your Western and Indians and all this stuff, these people on horse and buggy in 1923 did not build a cathedral designed for, look like 100-foot humans. I'm sorry. It just does. Doesn't mean that happened, guys. I'm just saying it looks like the design was for 100-foot human beings. The doorways were designed for who's building all this, and how do you have full cities of it all? But now you have just a little remnant.
Where are you talking about? Like talking about Rome?
No, that's the thing. Most people quickly go Rome in their head. It's in every state of this country. Every state you go to, even downtown Los Angeles, has these buildings that some of them are going, hey, yeah, that was built in 1920. That was built in 1920. Can you guys rebuild this now? What is this made? What is this made out of?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And the official story is that the whole world was filled with this type of Roman cathedralism type of thing. These giant pillars, beautiful structures. Mm-hmm. Even their homes, they're actual homes. There's homes in the East Coast and the Midwest they're the same homes as back then. They just painted them 10 times over and now they're siding on it. It's the same structure. You could take that shit off and see the original stonework from our ancestors, or whoever was here before us. And it blows my mind, though, because people think that those were all built in 1920, 1900, 1920, whatever. And then they just took them all down, coincidentally, 3 years later, 4 years later. Oh, yeah, we took them down. We didn't want them. We wanted these little shit boxes with shit roofs that we have now. We wanted that the rest of our lives. No, in my opinion, something happened. I'm not going to act like I know, but something happened in the early 1800s to mid 1800s that set the tone for the lies we're in now. And it all connects with history, man. And the history we're taught is bullshit, man. It's deeper than you think. It really is.
What is this guy saying? Andrew Hiller. Thanks for the loot, Andrew. I watched the documentary. It helped me make sense of why the Chinese spy balloons were such a big deal. Common sense told me, wouldn't satellites do this? Wouldn't satellites do what? What's he referencing? I saw the movie too. I saw it like
the film. Yeah. Hold on. It helps make sense of why the Chinese spy balloons were such a big. Yeah. I mean, that was, I mean, look at that big story for at least 2-3 weeks. I mean, again, they create these stories in the media. They create them sometimes out of thin air, pun intended, but they create them. And now they can change the subject. They fuck something up, something slipped. They're like, oh, we got to change the agenda this week. What are we going to do? Fake war again? Show some video game highlights? Say it's Ukraine? What do you want to do? No, let's just go ahead.
No, I was just to say the Titanic sub. It's all the distraction.
Yeah, that's exactly. But see, but we all remember the mission of the satellite spy balloon, right? Oh, it's hovering over your state soon. Oh, it might be shot. Hopefully, Biden can shoot it down. Come on, Biden. Whoa, what's it gonna do? I mean, come on, it's a satellite on a balloon, and I think it's soft disclosure. That's just me, but either way. It really made people, even people that had no idea about flat Earth or just made fun of it in a sense, go, wait a minute. My buddies have been talking about this, meaning flat Earthers, for 8 years now, that every satellite that's ever gone up since the 60s when it started, or sorry, 50, maybe late 50s it started, we're on balloons. Even back then, they don't lie about it back then. They're all on balloons. And all of a sudden, magically, Arthur C. Clarke, the sci-fi author, writes a book. I think it was I could be wrong. I want to say the 60s or 70s. But writes a book on sci-fi satellites, basically. The idea of tin cans floating around a cartoon ball. And he put in the book and how it would work and how it would pick up data and weather. And it was just so sci-fi. It's a real sci-fi book. Arthur C. Clarke's very popular. And as soon as that came out, all of a sudden, right away, I mean, not too far after that, all of a sudden now just publicly, oh yeah, it's just, yeah, we've always, they're up there. It's like the book. Remember that book? Yeah, we have those. There was no announcement. There was no special launch. First satellite ever. It's like, they're just up there. They're just floating.
Star Trek talked about these. Do you remember that as a kid? Star Trek talked about these.
Which ones?
And now we got them. The cell phones. We have cell phones now.
Oh, yeah.
Where you can just look at someone and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're reality. But it was completely absurd when I was a kid. It was absurd.
Well, yeah, but don't lie. Come on, guys. We all had we all had more expectations of the future, right? When you're 10 years old and you're thinking of year 2020, you're thinking of what? Flying cars. You're thinking of maybe free energy. Well, I don't know.
You'd think by now we had something built on the moon and people would be living there, right? I mean, because that's
there'd be advertisements for Pizza Hut, man. Come on.
Yeah,
$9.99 all week.
Sean, so in my circle of friends, I would never say I don't know what I wouldn't say, but in my circle of friends, I might not bring up at the dinner. I might not bring up, hey, I think the Earth is flat. I had this guy, Sean Hibbeler, just Hibbeler. Oh, God, I always want to say Hibbeler. Oh, yeah,
all right.
Hibbeler. I had this guy, Sean Hibbeler, on, and you guys, I'm pretty sure the Earth is flat. Is there anything that you know or suspect that won't come out of your mouth yet that you're like, fuck, even that's like a lot for me? Like, oh shit, I better not say that. I don't know.
What do you mean? I mean, maybe I'm
like
let me pull you up. Actually, hold on.
Like,
right, sorry, go ahead.
I hear, like, would you ever say something like, Biden's wearing a mask and underneath there is a lizard? Like, is there anything just like, but you think that, but you just won't say it. So
man, I'm different though. I'm not that I don't talk to family. I don't live by any of them. So, I wouldn't have that conversation. You talk about like strangers, or friends or acquaintances having the conversation. Would I stir the pot? You're saying, like, bring that up?
No, I just mean like, so I don't think a lot of people want to have this conversation that you and I are having, or they
I
don't
get
want
you.
it.
Okay.
They don't want it because I think they're scared. Like they think that
Yeah.
doctors are going to save them if they break their foot, if they get cancer, let alone like, for me, I don't understand why anyone would not want to talk to someone who doesn't believe in the globalist ideology or method, like thought of the cosmos. To me, it's like, oh, that's really interesting. I wonder, I'm so curious how these people think.
I can tell you why.
But I think they're all scared because then their reality would crumble. And I'm wondering if there's places you're afraid to go in your own thoughts, because even for you, it's like too much. Like, oh fuck, like you start tripping. Like,
you know, that's a great question though. Usually I don't get good questions. That's a great question.
Because everyone's afraid of a little afraid of something, right? I mean,
yeah, I don't know, man. I feel
I'm
like
ready to walk out on my skateboard ramp and there'd be 2 8-foot aliens out there being like, hey, we got the ship out back. Let's go.
Yeah, well, we have a different perception of what aliens are, but for me, I just like to live in the present, man. As boring as that might sound. So,
it's great.
I mean, all the hoaxes of the past, I love talking about them. Even COVID, I look at that. That's a past for me. I've already moved on. I've educated millions on it. I've woken people up, had thousands of emails back and forth through the last 3 years. I'm done. If you didn't get it by now, I'm sorry. I have other things to do. We need to figure out if we want to move forward, we need to figure out our history and then where we're actually going with it. Because if the people have the actual power, then we have to start acting like it and just do what the fuck we want, in the sense of doing it with love and truth, right? And if we keep preaching love and truth, all of us, then that's exactly the world we're going to live in. And so I don't watch TV anymore. I don't watch them. I don't watch what they're saying. I hear it. I do produce Eddie Bravo's show. So that's my news every week.
You do produce Eddie Bravo's show?
Yeah, I look into it on Rockfin. Yeah, my show, Hibbeler Effect's on Rockfin too. We're both on Rockfin, our shows. But Eddie,
are you a jiu-jitsu practitioner?
No, man. I'm just buddies with him. That's all. I go to his jiu-jitsu stuff sometimes, like when they were out here, when Bryce Mitchell, I was going to fly to Bryce Mitchell's in Arkansas for my last film, but he wanted to come out here. So when he flew out here, we hung out with Eddie, obviously. And so that's when I hung out with the jiu-jitsu stuff. And then he invited me to some tournaments just to watch and stuff like that. But that's not my realm, man. Not my realm. Maybe one day I'll get into it for fun, but I respect the heck out of those guys. That's hard to do. So, there's Bryce.
Let me ask you this also. Okay, so you see this stuff. You see things. You see them clearly, logically. You take steps to get to your own ideas. If you're not sure what's going on, you won't just believe what anyone tells you. That's clearly your stance. In this realm, there's a fucking lot of wackadoodles. They did too much meth. They did too much ayahuasca. The delusions of grandeur. They've got fucking fractured personality disorders. It's people who've fallen out of the mainstream group thought. Does that irritate you?
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
Would you say that like 50% of the people in the open-minded camp, something's fucking broken in them? They're in the
open. Oh, you're talking about just the open-minded camp.
Well, I don't know. I'm just making these words up as I go.
No. Well, in general though, like, cause for me, bro, like for me personally, the world's kind of split right now. And I think that's what they wanted. I think it started with 9/11 in my opinion. If you couldn't get out of that one thinking logically of how did the official story, how does that make any sense? If you couldn't figure that out, that something was wrong, and then start your journey from then about the system you live in, the system you pay taxes for, the system you support against your will without even realizing what you're doing, then you were never going to get it. And up from 9/11 through COVID, if you haven't figured it out by now, you're just. It's like
what's the dead giveaway for 9/11? What's the like? Hey, dude, what the fuck happened to Building 9 or whatever that one is that fell down? What's
Building 7.
Building 7. What's the dead giveaway for the Twin Towers?
Well, that there were 7 buildings that collapsed that day.
Okay, and we saw only 2 planes hit. And where the fuck are all these? Why are these?
No, we saw 2 airplanes on the television.
Correct.
That's all we saw.
Okay, correct. Right.
I made a film on it called 9/11. Spell out the word 9, N-I-N-E. That's on my Rockfin and my website. But 9/11 It's very tricky for me, man, because I'm not going to sit here and act like, yeah, there was absolutely no airplanes. But from my research, it looked like it was what you call a post-live composition, live compositing, where it's on a 10 to 20 second delay timer, whatever the case might have been, because there's footage of the sky in wide view and wide frame view where there's no plane in the sky from any angle, and it just blows up twice. I mean, the World Trade Center just fucking blows up. There's no plane. And then what I do is that, because I hear every theory out there, and I go, okay, let me figure this out. These could all be trash, or one of them could be legit. I don't know. But the no plane theory was ridiculous for me, because in the beginning I go, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, until you start looking into it. Until you start doing frame by frame, zooming in. And, I've been doing videos for a long, long time. At minimum, it was a hologram. That's minimum. But for my research, I don't think there was any airplanes. And the people that when I was doing my short film called 9/11, when I was doing that, I was looking for any person in the street that day that was running from the towers, right? Anyone that with a logical thought, that, wasn't too panicky. You can't really trust. You can't. I don't know what's going on. Like, they're all over the place. But the people that were calm demeanor, like, yeah, okay, so the building exploded and blah, blah, blah. And the news anchors are like, where's the airplane? They're like, what airplane? Like, people, they're confused in the street. Airplane. And it's like, how does no one know there's there's two airplanes just hit. Everyone's running and no one's talking airplane. And then I started hearing people say the word airplane, but followed by, and I heard it on the news, because I heard it on the news that it was the news said it was an airplane. Okay, that makes sense. I heard a loud bang. Pretty easy to sell it to the masses. All I'm saying, because when people go, oh, that'd be impossible. What are you talking about? That I just explained exactly what they would do. And for the people that were outside, what about those people? Well, half of them are going to die. This shit's going to blow up. So who cares? So they just took them all down. They took all 7 buildings down. I'm sorry, more. The Pentagon. They all that shit was
the Pentagon thing with no footage is really weird too.
It was all the whole thing was orchestrated. And again, for me, if you don't get that by now, you'll never get COVID. You'll never get where we live. I don't know. I don't know if maybe there's different types of humans, different types of vibrations, different types of something, because it's like I think you said it earlier. Like, when they just don't get it, it's frustrating, man, because it's like, how do you not see this? When I'm showing someone NASA's harnesses, you can see the harness. They're supposed to be floating in 0G. We're up in the ISS. We're floating. You can't do this. We can. No, I can do that. It's called a 0G plane. So when they're doing their marketing, stuff, or look for the cuts, guys. It's never live. It's never raw. Cut. That's because they're in a 0G plane, or they're in a studio. Like, to me, this is just in a studio. We've already explained multiple times.
So these guys are in on it, Sean, you're saying?
Of course they are. Listen, man, they're in a giant club, and you're not in it, and neither am I. And it's called the Freemasons. Okay, the Freemasonic. They're in a 500, however many astronauts it is.
That a secret?
They're all Freemasons. They're all testified Freemasons. They're all oathed Freemasons. They're in. There's no random astronaut. I want to be an astronaut when I get older. Well, you got to be a Freemason first. So good luck.
Why would they do it? What benefit do they have from it?
Security? Why become
like all of it? Like, why create this big thing? Why try to control it? Like, who benefits from that if there is a they? And then why do it?
Well, let's start with the who benefits. Who would benefit from the lie? Not you, not me.
Not me.
I'll tell you who benefits. The space agencies, they get $330 billion a year from taxpayers, minimum. Okay. And that's public.
So let me hold you here real quick. So that theory is basically create these enterprise. It's basically they're harvesting our work to pay money to them so they can live in the society with us, but we're the slaves and we don't know it. The same thing that we do to cows, the same thing that ants do to aphids. They gather us up. They have us living in this reality, but we're working and funnel. And then they found ways for us to funnel money to NASA that then they get to live off of and live a good life. So in a way, we're slaves.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, that's a good elaboration in a sense, but for me, it's more along the lines of, okay, I'll break it down like this.
Okay.
do you guys know when they went up for the first time to check what we live on? Do you know when that was? What year?
That they went into space and were like, look
No,
down.
no space, nothing. Just nothing to do with. I'm talking about humanity. When's the first time we said, "Hey, I don't know what we live on. There's a story. It's a story. It's his story, not my story. It's his story. But there's a story of a guy that looked up with a telescope a long time ago and saw a moon, another moon. So we live on a rotating ball, apparently, because of that. Okay. That makes no sense. But I'll give you that one. Okay, so who told you that story is the point. The school told you that story. Where'd that come from? Rockefeller. Why did he come up with this? Why did it start only when he started the Board of Education? There was no public schools like, hey, we live on a ball. We're rotating around the sun. To me, this is new. This is a new deception. And they don't want a bunch of critical thinking, smart, tapped into our universe, understanding how to manifest through frequencies and vibrations, understanding what grounding the body does, being one with the earth, coming back into nature. They don't want that because then they can't control us. They want everybody they want the slaves on the plantation. Keep them on the plantation. There's 7 continents. There could be 300 continents, guys, is my point. But there's only 7 to us, right? So you take those 7 continents and you wrap it around a ball and you say, guess what? The bottom of that ball, you can't explore there. Well, why not? Oh, there's penguins and stuff. Just don't. And it's freezing. You don't want to go there. Yeah, but there's a guy in 1958 named Admiral Byrd on live TV. He said he flew over there. And when he came back, he said there's another continent over there the size of North America that no one's ever seen. What if there's 300 other continents? Why can't? Nope, there's a treaty. You can't go over here. No one can pass. Sorry, you'll be turned around. You can't go over here. People go, I've been to Antarctica. Yeah, you could pay 20 grand and go to the little peninsula, which is actually called Deception Island.
Yeah, I actually been there. I've been there.
I mean, go ahead. Go to your Deception Island. Waste your 20 grand. Look at a little barbershop pole. Pet a penguin and go home. You're not going to be like, hey, we'll be back in 3 years. You ain't coming back in 3 days. You're done. Unfortunately, we need it in the
You know what's so funny in your movie when you're like, yeah, everyone says they've been into Antarctica and everyone's only been to this one spot. And then I looked at your video. I'm like, yep, that's where I went.
Deception Island, which is right next to Rothschild Island. It's right next to Rothschild Island. That's not too far from there.
That's amazing. Hey, so this Admiral Byrd, it says American naval officer and explorer. He was the recipient of the Navy Cross, second highest honor. This cat. Oh yeah, segment of the Arctic Ocean, segment of the Antarctic Plateau. Byrd said that his expeditions had been the first to reach both the North and South Pole.
Yeah, no, definitely no South Pole. No matter how much he was paid to say that or print that, there's no pole there. But when he kept going further,
there is no pole there. What's there?
Well, no, yeah. I mean, if Earth is a flat plane, a stationary plane, a level plane, the center of our plane, the center of our world is the North Pole. That's Polaris. That star never moves. Okay, all the stars and bodies in our head go around us. Okay, like a perfect clock. That's why the eclipses are every 12 years on this exact second. It's a clock above us. It's not randomness beehiving through 4 different directions of bullshit. We see the same goddamn stars every fucking night. We see the same stars every year. So did your grandma. So did her grandma. So did her grandma. Guarantee her grandma too. We see the same shit every night. This is not random. This is a Rolex times infinity. This is a masterpiece above us. And it was made for us, too. I don't know who made it. Call him God, Allah, Jesus, Yahshua, the creator, the source. I don't name it whatever you want. It changes every 100 years. So name it whatever you like. But that's what designed it all for us, for humans. So what they did was they said, okay, look, we got all this Freemasonry, right? Oh, Freemasons. Oh, that's kind of a weird connection there. Yeah, so they stumbled upon this Freemasonry. Don't know what happened in the early 1800s. That's a blank. But also they stumble upon these civilizations, these buildings with free energy, electric cars. Dude, there's a book called The Iron Republic. Late 1800s. They got in the ship, sick of the tyranny in the States, got lost, stumbled upon found land. I'm really fast forwarding, of course, but it's a fucking book. But the end, they stumble upon land. They called themselves the Iron Republic. They said, we're from New York. They said, we've heard of New York. You can't be over here. What are you doing here? But they were really nice. They stayed there for a while. And in the Iron Republic, they're talking in the book, guys. Even if someone said, Hibbeler, this book is fantasy. No, it's not. I don't care what any Wikipedia says about it. I don't care what anyone says about it. It's a firsthand eyewitness testimony, guys, of what he saw.
Why? Tell me, Sean, why do you say that? Why? How do you know? How can you say that? How can you say that?
In what sense?
Because you've analyzed the moon landing footage and you're like, I got issues. You've analyzed the 9/11 footage. You have some issues. You got some thoughts. This fucking balloon thing here and satellites. You're like, hey, I know what's going on here.
Yep.
Why this book? What clears the Sean Hibbeler scrutiny that makes you say, no, fuck you, this one is real?
It's not even about just that one book. There's multiple books. There's multiple books. That's just my favorite. There's multiple books, World Beyond the Poles, multiple books in the 1800s, The Smoky God, of people talking about continents all over the fucking place. Not 7 continents. That's what we're told. That's Rockefeller education, guys. That's what we're taught. That's our geography. That's our history. That's our science books. That's what we're taught. That's where we live. And that's fucking it.
Let me put something into your brain here. This is totally out of left field. You ready for this?
I love left field.
Okay. There was a guy, I forget his name. I think it was Roger Bannister, but I don't really know. And I think he was the first guy ever to break the 4-minute mile. And then after he broke the 4-minute mile, I think a bunch of people started breaking the 4-minute mile.
Okay.
It started just pouring in. There's something about the way we work as a civilization, and it's we're connected. I think we're connected in some weird way that we're not that we don't talk about. We don't have a vocabulary to point at. Okay. And maybe it doesn't involve our 5 senses, and it's something maybe that can't be measured, right? Like so much of the world, if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist, right? When you're talking about that book being real, couldn't there just be 500 dudes on the planet at the same time who kind of like are in that conscious space, in that ether, in that creative space that make up that story? Do you know what I'm saying? Doesn't it seem like things happen like that?
Here's the thing, man. It resonates true with me for a specific reasons, not just because it applies to more land out there, which makes sense because Captain Cook in the 1600s, the first man to try to circumnavigate Antarctica, it took him 68,000 miles and to go around and come back to where he started from. And he couldn't get in by ship back then. So by me even saying that, if you believe in a globe, you should have a problem with what I just said. I'm going to repeat it because just like our kindergarten heliocentric knowledge, and I think it stops in 3rd grade. So I get it, guys. But I just told you that there was someone that has been publicly charted. This isn't from conspiracies.com. This is public information. Captain Cook, which there's another island over there called Captain Cook as well. But Captain Cook circumnavigated Antarctica, couldn't get in by ship because of the ice shelves, the container that surrounds our world. Water needs containment. All water's level, finds level, needs to be contained though. You need containment for that lake in Kansas. Okay. And you can't fall off that lake in Kansas. Go ahead and swim in that lake. You live in a bigger one. It's called the World Oceans. And the World Oceans is contained by Antarctica. Antarctica is not a little island on the bottom of a basketball. It contains our world. So that's why no one has ever circumnavigated north to south and then popped up. Everyone could do it east to west on a flat plane. You just go in a circle around the whole world and come back to where you started from. It's really simple.
Brought a globe. Damn.
But my point was this, though, is that the actual understanding of Antarctica itself as a container of our world oceans, you have to ask yourself at that point, well, what's outside of this containment? What's outside of this container? Well, you can't go over there. And that's a fact. So the problem, wait, no one's interrupted yet. I just said 68,000 miles. No one has a problem with that?
Give me a second. Let me, give me 1 second. Cause people,
I don't want to lose your audience. Listen to your audience then. Your audience is thinking it's probably okay. What's the big deal? I said 68,000 miles. The equator, the fattest part of this ball theory that people love and adore so much.
How does Captain Cook
They don't
know
even know what the fucking
miles?
equator is, boss. It's 24,000 miles around. The fattest part of that basketball, Earth, is 24,000 miles around. So how could the bottom of the basketball, that little Antarctica stain, how could that be 68,000 miles? What are you talking about?
I hear you.
It should be 8,000 miles at the most, and that's never been charted. You can't circumnavigate Antarctica, period.
When you said that, my first thought was, how did Cook in the 1600s know that he went 68,000 miles. I wonder how he measured that.
How he charted it? How is any map charted? Get that answer to me, and there's your answer. I don't know. I have never charted a map. I don't know.
People in here aren't ready for Tartarian mud flood theory.
Yeah, well, I brought that up earlier. I was talking about the ancient buildings and structures that were just here. Imagine, guys, just fathom. I know it's crazy to think of. I get it, and I get it. I do. But that giants were walking around here 200-300 years ago.
Just that long ago?
Yeah, that's my point. That's the whole point of this. Now, I wouldn't call it a new theory, but people stumbled upon this 5, 6, 7 years ago, and it started blowing up. Now it's all over the place because people are like, wait a minute. There's ruins everywhere. There's Tartarian castles. Oh, God, Wikipedia. There's Tartarian castles everywhere throughout the world. You go, oh, those like a medieval time building. That's just, that's a church now. It's like, yeah, that type of building used to be all of our buildings everywhere in the whole world, including America.
Where did they go?
Apparently there was a reset. I wasn't there, and I'm not claiming there was.
Okay. All right.
I don't know, man.
Okay.
For me to say there was a reset means I'm crazy because I could.
Well, that's what I was
no way.
asking.
There's no way to conceive that ever happened. But there are clues when you see old photos that are somehow leaked to the public the last few years. But there's real. I mean, dude, the evidence is kind of there. There's something happened. The mud floods, whatever you want to call them, where it looks like they just survived an explosion of water and the whole world is mud and they're digging mud and you just see these castles everywhere. And I think what happened was like, we got to destroy all this property. People are going to ask questions. They're going to go, what happened? And I think what happened is people always wonder, how did these elite get together? How did these bloodlines take over? When did this start? And we have this assumption like, oh, the kings and then the emperors and then their bloodline. And now they're the Rothschilds. No, I don't think that's how it started. I just think that this is a lot newer than we think. And this country America was founded in Florida. That's how America was discovered. And they still teach, I'm assuming they still teach Columbus discovered it. And it's all lies, man. Like our history books, they're still lying to our children on a day-to-day basis. And now the trans movement's coming in the schools now too. It makes indoctrination camps that much worse to me now that they're doing that. But it's like all of it's lying. It's all conditioning for your mind. You're already into Tooth Fairy. You're already into Santa. We get you a young kindergarten. Come on. Perfect candidate to say, here's where you live.
But let me stop you with Tooth Fairy and Santa. You don't think it's okay for it to do any imaginary shit with kids like that? People ask me that. I'm like, yeah.
I'm sorry. One more time.
You don't think it's okay? Do you have kids, Sean?
Well, that's irrelevant. What was the question?
You don't think any of that Tooth Fairy Santa stuff should be done to kids? You don't think that that's just a fun fable?
No, I don't think so.
And tell me why. There should be no.
Well, I'm not a hypocrite. I didn't have it. I turned out great. So I saw the friends that I did have it go through some struggles when they found out Santa Claus wasn't real. It really. I looked at it from a perspective of that your parents are liars. It's okay to lie. That's what you're teaching your child. It's okay to lie. It's okay to accept the lie as a lie, and it's okay to be told that you were lied to, and who fucking cares? Just move on. Santa's not real. The Easter Bunny's bullshit. Whatever. All this stuff's not real, and the kid's like, wait, what? So subconsciously, they don't trust you anymore. And why would they at that point? That you made them thinking something that cool could exist in their world. You just made their world that much duller. And I'd rather teach, if you're going to teach fantasy that is possible. Meaning you can't really verify it. Hey, if you got kids and you're into truth and you know that we're not on a ball, teach your kids there's 300 continents as a fantasy. Okay. Not as truth. Let's go explore. Let's go past the 60th parallel in March and whatever. You got a son and you do war and just
maybe change. Just be honest about it. Hey, Christmas is a time that you show generosity and love. And you get presents for your friends.
Sure,
and you work hard.
What's wrong with honesty?
And then hey, the money thing for when you lose a tooth, it's a rite of passage, showing that you're developing from a young sapling creature to go ahead and put the pillow. I'm fine with that too. Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And again, and because of peers. It's hard. You got children and their peers, right, are going to be into a bunch of stuff. So for me, it's like I would teach kids to laugh at it. It's silly, it's silly. Spider-Man's not real. If you could teach your kid that Spider-Man is not actually outside going to be jumping off buildings, if they could understand that and go, yeah, well, duh, but I like the show, or I like the cartoon, right? The kid would go, I like my favorite cartoon. But they know, they can grasp, probably, I would assume, that they're not going to be doing that outside. Like, they know it's not real. It's a cartoon on TV, hopefully, right? You just apply that same concept to the globe or any bullshit out there. Dinosaurs, or come on, man. Like, it's have fun with it. It's fun to not this way they can accept it and not be like, no, those aren't real, and get suspended. It's just like, look, it's silly. It's silly. You treat everything like Santa that not that you believe is bullshit, that is bullshit. You don't want to teach children what you know is bullshit. If you believe something's bullshit, you got to know first before you rule it out.
Let me give you an example that I think a lot of people, where you and I totally agree upon, that a lot of people don't understand. They can't even get their head wrapped around. There's no such thing as gravity. Gravity is an explanation for a phenomenon. There's
not really phenomena. It's electrostatics is what explains the phenomena, though. We actually have a force called electrostatics that is provable, testable, repeatable, measurable here on Earth. We can control things with a positive and negative charge, make things go up or down. They know it. We know it now. We're trying to scrape the surface with how all this works. But you talk about even something like a UFO, a man-made reverse engineered craft. How is that going up there, moving around? Where's the propeller? Right. What is it doing?
What I'm saying to you is that there is no truth. There is no truth. There's just explanations, and some explanations are better than other and more valuable. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
And it's explanations that allow us to like predict shit, right? So like you see a ball coming at you, and you're able to predict how it's going to move. So you move your head so it doesn't hit you in the face, and there's explanations. Or catch it. Or catch it. The reason why
I like the first thing I thought of, I'm like, I'm gonna catch it.
The reason why I asked you if you had kids is because you are so passionate about this. And I think as parents, we sort of have that's a waking up process. That was part of the waking up process for me, because I care more about what happens to the future of our environment that we live in, our civilization, because I have kids. Whereas before at 20, I'd be like, fuck it, let's bring anarchy on. Let's see this shit. And now I'm out.
Well, and that's the matrix we all lived in. And it really, to be honest, it really has nothing to do with you having a child. I know you're applying it, and there's nothing wrong with that, because the applying it to it is true. But overall, you do care, because you still have to care overall about the future of humanity. And some people just they just love comfortable lives. They'd rather have comfortable lives, because then they don't have to work hard to do anything but their own 9 to 5, which is already a slave system in itself, to make it so you don't have any time with your family. By the time you're home, you have no energy. You just did all of that to eat probably insufficient dinner with dead animal carcass everywhere, no nutrition at all. And then you have all of a sudden 2 hours of programming televisions, and you go to bed, and you do it all over again. You do it 5 times in a row, and you get 2 days off a week, which is standard American tradition. And those 2 days off, you go spend money at, this supports Hollywood and pedophiles. So when people are living in a world of hypocrisy and they don't even realize it yet, they don't even know it. Like, you can ask any human being, do you want to stop child trafficking? And the just our youth, getting fucked over by these Satanists or elite or whatever you want to call them.
Let's not call
everybody. You're right. I said that earlier. You're right. But these pieces of shit, every human being, at least, give it 99,000 out of 99,001, whatever you want to say. My point is that everyone would say, yeah, they don't want children hurt. They would not want that XYZ, right? We know that. It's the same thing. But the hypocrisy of human beings are so off that they don't even know they're supporting them. They're like, I love Tom Hanks. You know who you're supporting? Do you know what they're doing in real life? Do you know what's happening in the real world? Do you know why these people are protected? Do you know why the Oscars put a 2-mile square radius fence cage around the Oscars this year downtown? Shit. Me and Joe Bauman were walking on foot with cameras with Alex Stein. We were heading towards the Oscars. We were going to go. I'm not going to say what we were going to do, but it definitely involved Jimmy Kimmel. And we had because not only because Jimmy Kimmel was on, I know, but not only because he was on the Epstein flight log, but we had some other issues with him. Okay. Like some serious shit. And he needs to get the fuck out of the state. And we went down there and we're like,
Can you tell me what?
No, hell no, not on there. But here's the thing, man. We went around a fence line where you can't even breathe. You can't even throw a football at the red carpet, man. You're going, no, there's cops. I've never seen more cops in California in one setting ever. And I'm like, wow, they're protecting the 30 celebrities inside. All of this is because of the pedophilia that's being protected by our government, by our judicial system, by our local police, state police. They're all in on it in some sense, because the head of all those organizations know you don't touch. Hey, we should be able to say, look, we have evidence of this on Kimmel. We have evidence of this on Bill Clinton. We have evidence of this on whoever, and turn it into literal police or sheriff somewhere. They're supposed to go and arrest them. Hey, we both know it would never happen. It would never. Bill Gates, it would never happen. Crimes against humanity. That's a crime. This real, guys. We act like that's fake. Like, oh, that sounds like a movie.
Well, Epstein went down, right? Epstein. What happened with Epstein? Why did they let that
fall guy? He's the fall guy. If anything, he's back on the island, guys. We're living in a giant show. I hope that you're watching the right channels of this. There's different shows going on, in my opinion. A lot of shows going on. And I feel like some people are falling for some shows, but not others. I think that you just got to write off what they want you to think and start thinking clearly for yourself. Start actually thinking about your present and staying in it. Just stay in the present and understand that as long as the universe is backing you, as long as you have a connection with the creator, do you guys sun gaze at all or no?
I don't.
No. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Looking at the sun.
Looking at when it's low on the horizon.
Well, yeah. I mean, in the beginning stages, it's got to be, when the sunset is 6 p.m. sunset, 6:30, that dark orange glow it gets, right? That's because that heat lamp, that local lamp is far away. So the light's going to dim with it. It's not 93 million miles away, 93 million miles. It wouldn't do that. We'd keep falling backwards until the sky was black, guys. It's just logic. But
so tell me about sun gazing. What's the values of that?
Sun gazing is you have to be grounding. You put your bare feet in either the soil. You have to be connected to the earth. Grounding in general is very healthy. It's very good for reversing diseases. You put your bare feet, your soles.
I almost never wear shoes. I went 2 years once without wearing shoes.
That's a great thing, dude.
Shoes are a tool of the man. When people say, why do you go barefoot? I'm like, hey, dumb fuck, you're the one who put shoes on. Why do you put shoes on? Don't ask me.
Do you know why they're rubber?
Do
you know why they're all rubber?
No.
So they don't conduct?
Yeah, they won't pick up any of the earth, the ions and everything, the nutrients in the earth. That you can't get it. You can't be connected to anything in the heavens without your soul tapping in. I know they call them the soles of your feet, but that's where your soul is. I don't know where people think it is, but that's your soul. Your soul has to be connected to the earth. So sand, I heard concrete's not bad as long as it's grounded, or grass, obviously, real grass, not like I made this from Home Depot. No, the real shit. Be grounded. Ground your feet, and then if you want just that, though, hold on, let me stop there though. Just that is that good for you? Stopping there, do that 1 hour a day. You'll reverse a lot of. Just
don't even wear shoes. Wear shoes 1 hour a day. How about just wear shoes?
I don't. Yeah, I only wear shoes if I have to, man. But sun gazing is you stare at the sun as long as you can. You have a staring contest with the sun. It's a training though, just like you can't walk in a gym and bench 500 pounds for the first time.
I'm scared to do that. Like when you say that to me, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna fuck my eyes up.
Yeah, that's what I go do right away.
No, a lot of people have reversed their eye conditions tremendously by doing it. People stop wearing glasses now.
Yeah, but I've just been taught that, right? That's one of those things I've been taught. Look at the sun, you go blind.
Yeah. They taught you to not look at the eclipse too. Remember, you'll go blind. You'll definitely go blind if you look at the eclipse. And they don't want you to look at the eclipse as a kid because I think even as a child, especially a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, we'll be like, wait a minute, those two lights are the same size. And it's making like a little shadow, like just in our city and not the city over. These are local lights that are down, like half the earth should be covered in darkness. Like none of it made sense, but it really didn't make sense when my teacher, like it was like a religion to them. Don't you look at that eclipse tomorrow.
I remember
but
that.
They knew how I was. if you go blind, like they were so like trying to scare everybody. And of course I fucking looked without him because that's the type of person I was. I didn't know what I was doing back then.
Me too.
But I definitely knew that nothing happened.
Let me go through some of these people who've thrown loot. Sean, do you mind here?
Oh yeah, of course, man.
Sean, have you watched Rob Skiba? You'll love him. He talks about we don't use flat Earth. Yeah. He talks about a stationary Earth in a biblical context. Weird and fun stuff to listen to.
Yeah, Jake, thanks for the comment. Unfortunately, Rob Skiba has passed, guys. So anyone listening, Rob Skiba unfortunately passed away. He was taken out during the peak of COVID when he went in there. It had nothing to do with the flu, but he went in there for something else, and they threw him on a ventilator. And
Nelly.
So they did the ventilator to him, unfortunately. So rest in peace, Rob Skiba. And unfortunately, to answer your question, though, in the past tense, and I was never introduced to him. I know pretty much everyone that he's spoken to and worked with. I talk to now, but this was a long time. This was not a long time ago, but a while ago before I was even talking to like peers about this type of stuff. So I never got a chance to connect with him, but I did put in loving memory of Rob for my last year's documentary. Not this year's was rest in peace to Bob Nodell from Globebusters, who passed away. So unfortunately, we got two years in a row. Hopefully no more scientists or flat earthers or spiritual teachers get taken out by any means. Bob was just unhealthy, unfortunately. Doesn't matter how smart you are, if you don't know how to eat and survive off it, then it can get the best of us, is what my point was. And
you don't like eating dead animals? You took a shot at dead animals. Are you not a dead animal?
No, I don't eat that. No. I don't eat anything that shits, man. I'm good. You got an asshole and that's not for me. That's not food. That's not food. Food is beautiful. Food is green and red and orange and purple. And food is the Garden of Eden. There's no tombstones in the Garden of Eden. There's no, 2-year-old pig getting picked up by his tail, slammed into the door and shit, and then thrown into the grocery store. Like, I'm good, man. Like, I'd rather just eat food. That's all.
Well, have you ever met Chris Beat Cancer? Do you know who that is?
No.
Oh, you should check him out. You would dig him.
Dig him. Well, I don't judge anyone that eats meat. That I ate meat for 30 years. So
he doesn't. Yeah, he stopped eating meat and beat third stage or fourth stage prostate cancer. Mike Pool Boy, Olivis. Fuck Mike. Fuck Mike. Fuck Mary, kill a Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster, or Alex Jones. Thank you, Pool Boy, very much.
One of those every show.
I love you. You look good with your shirt off, buddy. Okay. Explain sunsets on a flat Earth. This is so goofy. You need medication, dude. Now, why?
That's all good. Why does everybody get so?
I know, but
why is it so contentious? If you have one of these discussions, even if you're just like, hey, we're gonna shoot the shit and have this conversation. Why is it that people get so worked up? Like it's like a borderline. You almost slap their mom.
Yeah, it's similar because
what do you think?
You're fighting their inner child. You're trying to take their ball away from them. No one's ever done that to them yet. Yeah, and as a child, you don't want your ball to be taken away. That's fine, but I'm gonna take your motherfucking ball away, talking shit behind
you for the money. I'm gonna take your money. Thank you. Go
seasons, right? So wait a minute, but let me back up just 1 second, real quick. The actual so sunsets. Is that what the question is, right? Okay.
Yeah. The movies explain this really well, by the way. The movies are
it's all good. It's all good. People with low vibrations or no knowledge or no wisdom, they don't have time to watch films that I produce. They're watching like cuties and shows on Netflix, stuff like that.
The new Barbie movie.
Yeah, the new Barbie movie, My Little Pony, whatever's out. So the sunset on a flat Earth. Okay.
By the way, I'd like to do a show with someone who saw the Barbie movie, and I'm going to call it "You're Retarded."
I didn't know there was a movie.
You're my friend, and you're retarded. Why do you go? Why would you? Like, there's a fucking Barbie movie, dude, with like big time actors and actresses. It's crazy. Okay, sorry. Okay,
sounds awful. Okay,
setting sun. Go ahead.
I am not about recommending that film. That's these two. Okay, not me. I'm just kidding. All right. So the sun setting, right? So I always like to start with, let's talk about heliocentrism first, please. We're supposed to be falling backwards faster than the speed of sound. The sun's not moving. You think the sun's moving? You're nuts. The sun's not moving. Can't see
falling
that
backwards.
movie.
You mean we're rotating at 17,000?
Yeah,
whatever,
we're
20,
literally
20.
supposed to be falling backwards faster than the speed of sound right now as the sun is just setting beneath our feet. It's all supposed to be this one giant motion of tilt, and then the sun would go black. Then the sky would just go black, but that's not what we see. We see a few phenomenons out there that prove that seasons, well, I know you asked for explain sunset, but seasons explain them. The seasons themselves, again, I don't have anything. I'm not Dave Weiss. I don't have like graphics to show you, but I hate picking out a dinner plate because that's not what I think. The Earth's not a shape to me, guys. It's not the shape of a dinner plate. And then what? What's under it? What's on top? Listen, we're in some sort of system with a barrier on top and a barrier below. That's all I know. They went down to the bottom of the ocean and they penetrated it and it bounced off. They can't get through that ocean. That guy died after he admitted that, but Mike DeGroy, sorry. But anyways, you can't get to the bottom of the ocean. You will bounce off. You can't physically penetrate it. So we don't know what's beneath us. The deepest hole ever dug is 7.5 miles in Russia. That's it, guys. Guinness Book of World Records. That's it. No mantle core 4,000-mile fantasy to jerk off to anymore. I'm sick of it. The record is 7.5 miles. Nobody knows what's beneath us. So stop asking what's underneath.
Let's put that in perspective, Sean.
But
so what is the diameter of the Earth, of the heliocentric Earth? What is the diameter? If they've only gone down 7 miles, what do they claim the diameter is? 24,000 miles? No,
well, that would be the circumference of the Earth. I don't know the diameter by heart. That might be one of the only globe questions I don't know by heart.
Okay, but it's not. But 7 miles isn't significant compared to its thousands of miles.
So it's basically like saying, "Hey, we found the middle of the seed of the apple." Oh, you did? Can you prove it? Yeah, we barely got through the skin. Come look.
Okay.
What are you talking about? Like, how do you know there's a pit? What do you like? What are we talking about? So I'm just talking facts. Whether people want to get offended, that's fine. But here's the thing. They don't know what's beneath us. Nobody does. Not even them. They don't know. They don't know what's above us. Every single time that amateurs have sent up rockets straight in the air, they stop around 73 miles, if not exactly 73 miles every fucking time. They stop. Sounds like it hit something. Don't know what it is. I think it's an ocean above us. That's just my opinion. But at the same time, I do know for a fact that nothing's gone past there. Nothing's gone beneath. Those are two actual facts, and you can't prove otherwise. You wouldn't never be able to prove. I've been trying for 10 years.
What about these things that have gone to Mars?
Oh, come on, man. You're being for real now?
I'm trying.
No, I'm making sure you're being for real. Is this like a educate my audience on this moment?
No.
You think we're going to Mars?
I watched on CNN that they fucking sent up something. I remember being a kid, and they showed some little fucking thing with wheels rolling around on Mars. You're just saying no.
You got any footage of it? Let's see how real it is, man.
Yeah, can you pull something up, Caleb's rover on Mars or something?
Yeah, let's see. Let's see if this is a
Sean.
If you guys think this is real video footage. If you guys think it's real video footage, I will continue the conversation about that topic.
So it's just more stories. And let me say this about the sun thing too.
Yeah, I have to answer him, man.
Okay,
I can't leave him hanging.
Yeah, go
with the sun setting. All right, the best explanation I give you is I don't know. Use your mind. Take a 100-mile square radius Coliseum. Can you fathom that in your mind? A 100-mile radius Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
Big fucking Coliseum, right?
Yeah,
huge Coliseum.
Can't even see the other side. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. No, you can't see the other side of some hallways in Vegas in the hotels. You can't see. But that door, the last door, is on the floor. The top of that door is on the floor. It's perspective. Everything. Our eyes are designed as a normal fisheye lens. Okay, but our eyes have a vanishing point. We are not Superman. Check your weather app. It'll tell you visibility today is 12 miles. You can see 12 miles away today, even though you're not supposed to. That's another story we can get into later if we have time. But to answer his question, if you can imagine a 100 square mile circle Coliseum, and I have a giant heat lamp all the way up to the, not to the top of the roof, but near the top of the roof, right over you. So now you're sitting there and it's freezing cold in your section of the Coliseum. There's no heat. There's nothing. And I'm over there sitting right above you with this heat lamp called the sun. Okay. Call it the moon, call it whatever you want. And I'm going to be heading towards your buddies down there, they're about 50 miles down in terms of scale. They're about 50 miles down. I'm gonna be heading that way. My heat from my sun is going to be fading away as I'm going away. It should, right? Shouldn't it? I have the heat lamp over you. You're nice and warm. You're actually kind of sweaty. And as I start walking past you, you're still warm. You can still see the sun. You're still a little warm. And you're like, all right, now I'm getting a little chilly. Where's the sun going? Eventually, I know you guys hopefully will agree, that light that I'm holding you're never going to see that again. Probably by the 20th mile, it's gone. You can't see it. Maybe you could zoom in back on it with a high-powered zoom lens, but you're not seeing that sunlight ever again. It's not physically reaching you. None of it. It's gone. It's over. Okay. Now, as it's going over there and circling around, it's going to come back around. In the morning, I'm going to see the same fucking sun. Now, because of perspective, that sun is being eclipsed by a mountain in the distance, a bridge in the distance, a tree line, something in the distance. You see the sun. There's some sunsets. I could show you 100 of each, is my point. I could show you 100 sunset time lapses where the actual physical noon big giant ball of sun is shrunk down to about 4% of that by 7 p.m. It's a time lapse. The giant sun going away from you. You can't be by water for that to happen. You can't be anywhere near water if you want to see the sun getting smaller as it's setting and circling around us. Eventually it's going to take all the light with it. Just like the heat lamp. You're not going to see it anymore, guys. It's small and close. But that's our summer is the tropic. Remember the north I told you is in the center. There's a circle there, imaginary line. We'll call it the Tropic of Cancer. Okay? The sun is on the Tropic of Cancer going around every year when it's our summer. And in the winter, it spirals back to the outer ring called the Tropic of anyone? Capricorn. All right. So now it's on the Tropic of Capricorn. This is Australia's summer. Now it's the heat lamp's only over Australia's heads at noon. Okay. We're in the center. So if you actually look at a flat earth map with the sun, moon, and stars going like they do on the cycle, it'll make sense when you notice, oh, that makes sense. Texas is still a little warm in December. So is Arizona. So is Cali. Vegas. Okay, that's where the sun's turning. That makes sense. So, but the East Coast is frozen. The Midwest is frozen. The sun's far away. That heat lamp is 20 miles from you in the Coliseum now. You could see the sun every day in the winter. Of course you can. But did you know that in the heliocentric model, in our winter in North America, that sun, in our winter, the sun is 2 million miles closer, they tell us, in our winter. In our summer, it's 2 million miles farther. But yet I can get a tan at 7 a.m. at the beach and you know, like you can get a tan at 7 a.m. in July. But at noon, when the sun's right above you in January, maybe not in California, but the Midwest, at noon in January, you don't even feel the heat because it's on the other tropic doing another circle around you. And it starts moving to the center. That's why the North once a year, or I don't know the exact dates or whatever, but they see 24 hours of sun, right? Because that is the closest part of the center where the North Pole is, where Polaris is sitting there, that it brings in the sun circuit. And everybody that's in that center can see the sun for 24 hours, or at least it's light until it starts going back around the Tropic of Cancer again. So the sun is traveling faster around our heads than the moon. So they eclipse each other. I think the sun also eclipses another body that I don't know what it is, but we see this black thing in the sky. It's definitely not the moon up there. We can locate the moon somewhere else. We've done it before. So to answer him in layman's, the sun setting is literally like a boat setting over the horizon or a human being setting on Central Park. And you're on the ground looking at, imagine a 200-foot football stadium and you're on the ground. Because remember, we're ants on this giant earth plane, okay? So you're on the ground looking across the 200-yard football stadium, and your buddy's going to just walk to the end zone. Remember, 200 yards now. I'm just giving an example. His feet are going to disappear first from your eyesight, and then his legs will disappear, and then his torso, and then his neck, and then his head's gone. But if you stand up, your friend's right there. He's across a flat field. But he will disappear due to your perspective, due to the vanishing point. Everything disappears from the bottom up. We have brought boats back in from the horizon. Hey, look, it disappeared over the curve of the earth. I'll wait another hour and I'll still take the P1000 and zoom in. All of a sudden, you're just seeing water. And then a boat just appears. Now, did that boat come up the curve? Meaning, did my lens go around the curve or did it go straight across the curve? Right? No, it's no curve of anything. We can't see that far. Same thing with the small sun, small moon going around our head. We're not going to. Can you see the airplane till it lands? Well, we all know the airplane's 7 miles in the air when it's cruising. Why can't we see it land in Europe? It's not curvature. I never heard that. It's because that's okay. Oh, yeah, it just disappears, man. What do you mean? Into the atmosphere, just disappears. Yeah, it's not going into space, though, right? No, it's just gone. You can't see everything. You can't see that far. And no, you can't see China from Florida. If the earth was flat, you'd be able to see China from Florida. You can't read your street sign 4 blocks away when you're driving. But you want to see China from Florida. Okay. Ooh, I can't hear you.
Sevan, you're muted.
Sorry. So here's the same thing. Do you know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is? The same guy. He's getting hostile.
Google it. You know what? The term.
Just because I'm just like listening and engaged. You're like, oh, don't nod. Oh, don't do this.
It's the phenomenon by which those least competent in a certain subject area overestimate their skills the most. It also causes those most competent in a subject area to think less of their own talents.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It seems like
it's supposed to be some sort of dig, like you know more than you actually think you do. It's unnecessary. Here's the thing.
Here's the thing. No. It's jealousy. It's because these fat, lazy people in our society that are Twitter fingers that talk shit with their fingers, they never leave their fucking couch. Okay, they can go themselves to the goddamn beach, buy a Nikon P1000, and prove to yourself there's no ships that have ever gone down curvature ever. You can pull them all right back into frame. They're not gone. They're gone from your eyesight.
You know why no one can dispute that in the comments? Because no one's done it except for you. You're the only person of the hundreds of people. Well, yeah,
but there's thousands of people. There's thousands and thousands of people that have done this. Not just me.
Right.
Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. We brought back Toronto, Canada.
To Sean, just go out and try it, and just be like, I tried it. Sean's full of shit. Or shit.
I'll put money down. We'll bring that boat back, man. It's hilarious that people think that was the original proof back. That's all people needed back in the day. Was Columbus said it, remember? He saw the boat go down, so now we live on a whirling, twirling space ball. Still haven't gone up there. And by the way, to answer your original question earlier in the show, when did we go up there? Well, 1969, guys. Apollo. That's when we went to go see what we looked like. And they took one photo of the Earth, and they took 18,000 photos of the moon. They took 18,000 pictures of the moon, and they took no videos or photos of the Earth. Come on. They didn't even say the word Earth in all 6 Apollo missions. They don't want you thinking about it. They don't want you to have any focus on our home that's supposed to be spinning behind them. Can you zoom in over there? Can I see an airplane? It's 2023. Can I see one now? Can I see an airplane traveling from here to here? Can I watch that? I'll pay. NASA's broke. I know. I'll pay.
Is that video in your movie of the astronaut saying that we never even went? Is that Buzz Aldrin saying we never went to the moon?
Buzz Aldrin told the little girl. I think he just had a moment where he just didn't want to lie to a little girl in her face. And she said, I don't understand. Like, why haven't we gone back to the moon? He goes, well, we've never been there. We didn't go. He also said it to Conan O'Brien when Conan O'Brien brought it up on the show and said Conan O'Brien remembers where he was when he was watching the moon landing and how it changed his life or whatever. And Buzz Aldrin interrupts him on Conan's show and says, you didn't watch us. That was animation. And it got silent. And Conan's like, no. I mean, when you guys were walking on the moon, I loved that as my family. And he goes, no, that was all animation. And literally it was awkward. And they just moved on. It's like, I mean, people go, he's just going to see now. No, I think that he's trying to clear his conscience before he passes. Can't live forever. And, the moon landing is the most hilarious hoax of all hoaxes, man. I mean, I feel like if someone still believes in the moon landing, I can't even talk to him. Like go on their show or why? Because if you think, for me, there are 2 types of people. Ones that wear 2 masks and believe the moon landing was real. And then they got the other, the one that doesn't. That's it. There's 2 types of people. They're the same type of person to me. So what's the point? What's the use? You could show them a million times over every single thing from every angle. And they want to believe.
I don't think most people care.
I think the people that say, I don't care if it's flat or round, I still have work in the morning. That's right where they want you. That's exactly where the system that we live in, that's where they want your mindset. Hey, we've been lying to you and stealing billions of tax dollars and indoctrinating your children into something that doesn't exist so they don't focus on what might exist. Okay,
well,
past the 60th parallel, and the North Pole has land. Apparently,
aren't you halfway? Aren't you more likely, if you don't care if the Earth is round or flat? Doesn't that make you more able to see that maybe it is flat? Or if you don't care whether we went to the moon or not, you're more likely to see maybe that we didn't go to the moon, as opposed to these people like in the comments who are like, "Fuck, dude, you lay off the meth or whatever."
Yeah, they say the people to more comment on the people that say lay off the meth. It's because I'm questioning their 5-year-old hearts. And they go right back to a 5-year-old state of mind. Oh, you piece of shit. Oh, flat. Oh, you fucking stupid flat earth. Okay, idiot. Okay, yeah. Where's your globe proof, retard? You're the retard because you think that you came from a monkey, from a Big Bang, from a monkey, and now you're here and you're just whirling randomly in an infinite universe. Whatever. You know what? Sounds cool. Have they ever proved any of it? The answer is no.
Did Stanley Kubrick claim to direct the moon landings? Did he claim that?
I don't think he claimed it. I think people claimed he was involved, and he was. But there's photos of him and all the head execs of Walt Disney, Warner von Braun, because you guys know how NASA started, right? Like who formed NASA? How NASA. It was 1959.
The
Nazi traders came over. Yep, and I'm sure they signed a deal with Eisenhower, whoever was running it then, and. Said, hey, look, Nazis, you guys are doing NASA. I think the other one started CIA or something else. And that's it. And now we have these companies that are tax schemes on the people. It's mind manipulation of the mind. They started NASA with just sending monkeys up there. No one really remembers that because it was hilarious. But monkeys are going to space, and did the people buy it? Did the people buy it?
Yeah,
kind of. Okay, what are we doing next? They had 15 years to program everyone, with Walt Disney's hand involved in all of it. That we're going to a moon, and that space is real, and like this shit's legit. All the while, no one's asking for where do we live. Like, you guys keep going up there. Like, can we see where we live? That'd be great. But no one cares about that.
Oh, shit. Here we go, Caleb.
Went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation. See, you associated what you saw.
Pause
it. Then we play it.
Okay, hold on. Hey, that guy's more that guy's more there than our president. Okay, keep going. Holy shit.
Vote for Aldrin.
The legal name, passport, driver's license.
And I remember very clearly, I think anybody who was alive at the time does. I remember my parents waking me up and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation.
Caleb.
7 seconds, motherfucker.
Jesus Christ, Caleb. What the fuck? You played that longer than you fuck, dude. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh, shit.
Jesus Christ. Okay, keep playing it now. Keep playing. What happens next? Keep playing.
I don't even remember what happens next.
Christ.
Pause it for a little bit.
Keep playing.
You associated what you saw with.
I have very hazy memories.
Yeah, I know.
What we saw was we all were gathered around the old curved top radio and listened.
Talking about how many feet we're going to the left and right.
Oh, you heard audio of me talking.
Light, engines.
Holy shit. Vincent Palmero, I hope nothing happens to any athletes this year at the games, but how many athletes might collapse or have to withdraw from chest pain or heart pains? Because almost every athlete, I'm sure, got the shot. So, Sean, just so you know, I cover this sport called CrossFit. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle methodology. Yeah. And but we're taught in this CrossFit cult or in this methodology also, by the way, that we have the cure for the world's most vexing problem, which is chronic disease, and we believe in a diet that anyway. But
I understand. No, I respect everyone, man.
For 16 or 17 years, we've been putting on this event, and no one ever had a fucking blood clot or fucking any problems at the event ever. And it's a fucking hard event. It makes the Olympics look like it's for bitches. It makes the Ironman look like it's for dumb shits. last year we had 2 people with blood clots at the event. They were both explained. And I'm like, how the fuck in the first time in 16 or 17 years of doing this event did we have 2 blood clots? And
you already know how.
Yeah. Thank you. And so that's how, that's why.
Yeah, I made a film called Fluvid-19. It did really well. Woke a lot of people up to the hoax involved. And it was just the flu, man. There was no leak. There was no bat. It was a flu. They literally hijacked the flu and they stopped counting flu deaths and flu cases the whole time. They weren't counting them. I got car accidents in that film, motorcycle accidents counted as COVID. They wanted to make sure that the death numbers were completely false. And then they wanted the illusion to leave with people of, oh no, this one was different. No, it wasn't.
You ever had a strike on YouTube?
I'm in 2 strikes right now, man. That's why I don't fuck with YouTube no more. No, I don't. There's no reason to fuck with YouTube anymore. I put previews of my podcast on there, and the previews, like whether it's Jim Brewer, Eddie Bravo, Bryson Gray, I have different guests on, and the first 20 minutes is super clean, PG, because I put it on YouTube on purpose. But like Andrew Kaufman was hard, Dr. Andrew Kaufman, because we're talking about terrain theory and all this stuff. I'm like, how am I supposed to clean this up for YouTube? I'm going to get a 3rd strike. So it gets hard. But all my stuff's on Rockfin. Rockfin's like an alternative platform.
Why not Rumble?
I do have some stuff on Rumble. Okay. I've been on Rockfin for years, man, and I'm comfortable there. It's one of those like other Rumbles type of vibes, but it's more for podcasts. But they allowed me to have a film channel where all my films are there, so it's a nice place to have my show. And I go on other shows that are on Rockfin. You know, I mean, Sam Tripoli, Eddie Bravo has a show. I was on his show. I produce it, but I was also on it. So we try to keep it in the family. Globebusters, there's people that, Jaronism, there's a lot of people that we do shows. We always go on each other's shows as much as we can to support the Rockfin family. But that's a good place to be, man, because it's you can say whatever the fuck you want. And say you can't like gay bash or, you know, nothing like that. And there's you can't do crazy shit, of course. You can get reported at the end of the day for what you say. But I'm talking about vaccinations or alternative theories or health or anything. You could have a cancer channel. This will cure your cancer. They'll promote it is the point. So it's truth. You can speak your truth, have your guests, talk your shit. It's a good way to get tips and stuff from the community and to keep you going. And, you know, it's been really a good experience for me over at Rockfin. I'm happy there, but a lot of my films are on My Movies Plus too. My Movies Plus is another app for like the TV. So you got a smart TV, you got a PlayStation or a Roku stick or Fire Stick or something, and you want to wake up your cousin over for Thanksgiving or something, right? It's like, no, I'm just meaning like it's hard if you're at your cousin's house. They only have Netflix. You ain't going to do nothing. And YouTube bans most of my stuff is the point. So you can't watch my banned films on YouTube for free because they're banned. I have 2 strikes. So, you know, you got to go rent them. And on a lot of my films are Vimeo, My Movies Plus, and everything I do is on Rockfin. But everything I'll always do is on my website.
Though. Your movies are still up there.
I do have standard definition versions of all the non-banned films. Yeah. And I will always do that. And people call me crazy. Like, you don't have a 9 to 5. Why would you do that? I go, because the truth should always be free. I get it. I know this is my career the rest of my life, but I know how to do it in a way where, hey guys, like I got a new project coming up called Old World Order, and it's going to be regarding our lost civilization, regarding who was here before us. And I have experts involved in this field to try to figure out, I want boots on the ground in this film. I'm going to be flying to all over the world to these buildings and these structures to figure this shit out, not once and for all, because this could take years, but to figure something out in order to document it and have a film, an entertaining film about this topic. So people go, I've heard of Tartaria, or I've heard of, you know, the Lost World, or what can we watch? And no one has an answer, and that I've realized. So I'm going to create the answer. And, you know, so my structure is I start a fundraiser, because I know that people want it. I have a podcast. People say they want me to do this film. Go out there and do this. Cool. I'll put together the smallest fundraiser I possibly can, literally just covering hotels. I'll do my own flights or vice versa or whatever. 10 grand, 12, 15 grand at the most. I'm not going to do a real film budget of $100 grand or $1 million or something. No. Just help me out with some flights and maybe hotels or something. I could get everything else myself if I can. And now I can deliver a film to the people. This is how I work. This is how it's been for almost 4 years now. And it's been working up to this point where I can at least my lights are still on, so I'm not complaining is my point. But I'm definitely not complaining that I don't have an alarm set tomorrow to go work for a corporation that is I don't support. And the higher ups are probably linked with someone I don't really support. So at the end of the day, I'd rather work for myself, but it's scary because you make a shit film. You make a shit film. You make a shit film. I got nothing. And I mean, nothing coming in. So my ass is out there every day working my ass off 24/7 to bring true information, bring exclusive information, concrete, something to show, which is why I made 3 films on where we live, because it's 3 different vibes. Level is more punch in the face. Next level is more calm and descriptive and informative. And we're going to sit down and talk to you about some crazy shit. Level with me is exclusive shit. We went to these astronauts' homes, the ones that said they were dead or they died in the Challenger explosion. They're alive. They're 6 out of 7 are still alive today. That was
Is that movie out?
Level with Me is now out. Yes. Yeah.
And you went to their homes?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to name names or say anything. All I know is that we have someone that went to Michael J. Smith's home, present day. Watched that in the
teacher. What about the teacher?
The teacher, I only found her second, because her first private Facebook she deleted once we started talking about this in 2015. So I found an additional private Facebook of hers. Of course, you could see the side by sides, man. Here's the thing:
is that in the
person?
movie?
It's in the movie. In person, we saw 2 of them. We saw Michael J. Smith, the horse-looking guy. We saw him present day in his driveway. You'll see it. No film spoilers. And then the second one was Judith Resnick, who just so happens to be a high prestigious professor over at Yale University. Skull and Bones, baby. Yeah, they know how to do it over there. She's in the witness protection program. They all are now. So here's the thing. Judith Resnick was one of the astronauts too, not just Michael J., but Judith was the main glamour girl of the astronauts, the Challenger, and they put Madonna makeup on her 24/7 because she's very homely looking. So they really in 1984 they made sure that
homely chicks, plain Janes, but
but the point is Google algorithm needs to get fired. Whoever's in charge of that, they did a good job with covering up flat Earth, but a bad job when you Google search Judith Resnick, just her name Judith Resnick on Google, and you hit images. You'll see the astronaut of young, the glamour girl. Then you'll see the present day university teacher. You'll see the same name, the same age. Again, they can lie about anyone's age. But here's the thing with the current day Yale Law School Judith Resnick. Okay.
Oh shit.
She.
You're telling me that chick was homely? That chick was hot.
Oh, no, she wasn't. I got proof of it.
Oh, all right.
That was them trying to do anything they could to make her look above average. And they succeed. I didn't say they didn't succeed, bro. But I could
suck her for that hair. She's cute.
I could see a 4 on social media. But before they turned into a 4, they had all this makeup on they made them a 9. And then they tell you how ugly they are. It's kind of like they're showing you.
Yeah,
look what I can look
like.
She's
a 9. For sure. And that hair.
I would say she was an 8 back then.
Okay,
but
okay, fine. 8. She's kind of pinner, though, for an astronaut. I'd expect a little more muscle on her.
And what's the chances that there's just a random doppelganger of 6 out of 7 of those astronauts on the Challenger that all died, right? 6 of the 7 have either an identical twin or exact doppelganger. Same look, same age, same name. They didn't even change their name.
Is the Bible part of this whole thing?
The Bible, I'm not a Bible thumper by any means, but yeah, I know a lot of Christians that are, and yeah, the Bible is filled with flat Earth references. The Earth
it's not
is fixed to not move. I don't use it. I don't bring it up ever. Okay. I will if I'm asked about it. I know some of it, but I don't need it. I don't need it for this at all.
Let's fight with this guy for a second.
Let's go.
You took 20 minutes You took 20 minutes to not tell me how the sun sets on a flat Earth. The sun sets because the round Earth rotates. Okay.
So I did say that. I said we're supposed to be falling backwards faster than the speed of sound, but the heat lamp is going across. And by the way, when the sun is setting, you can see the clouds around the sun are glowing, but the clouds over here are dark as shit. Wait a minute. That sun is 93 million miles away, shining on half of the world right now when it's in the sky. It's in your state, but it's shining on half of the world.
Yeah.
Why is every cloud in the entire sky black as shit besides those 4 clouds where the sun's setting? Same thing with the full moon. Only the clouds around it are glowing. Those are local fucking lights. Those are local lights going around your head. The clouds show you that. The shadows show you that. It's common sense, and that's why people can't grasp it, because it's too common of sense. You're not moving. Common sense. The sun and the moon are the same size. Common sense. The stars all look about the same size. Common sense. It looks like they're moving in the sky, and you're not moving at all. Well, that's common sense. But someone at 5 years old told me otherwise, and my mom and dad, they told me about Tooth Fairy. They told me about Easter Bunny. They told me about Santa, but they didn't tell me about this one. And it's not their fault, because their parents didn't tell them. Their parents didn't tell them, and their parents were forced into a school that was going to push it regardless. So it's just a recycled generational theory, religion, really. Heliocentrism is a religion. You have to believe it. You have to have faith. You have no experience with it.
That's what everything is, dude.
No, not that you're not moving. Saying that you're not moving, that we are motionless, and that water needs to find and maintain level is not belief. It's not a belief.
Well,
it's truth.
It's an observation you're making.
It is an observation, but it's still the truth, though. All water finds and maintains level. No one has proven otherwise.
Okay.
No one ever can. No one ever will. That's what water is. The science of water is to find and maintain level. If 75% of the earth is covered in level water, where's this curve? There is no curve of the earth. No one has experience with curving. The Sears Tower curving away from you. Something's curving. Nothing. I'm just saying, oh no, but the ball's too big. The ball's just too big. You can't keep saying that the rest of your life. You have to eventually say, okay, yeah, there's no curve, because there isn't. And they have to fake it. They wouldn't have to fake it, guys. If there was real curve, NASA would go up there with a real lens from the ground to the sky with no edits, no cuts. Watch another NASA launch or SpaceX. You will find 100 to 200 cut.
Elon a stooge?
Yeah, he is.
Is there a conspiracy theory? I wish you wouldn't use that term. Is there a conspiracy theory you've been wrong about? Is there any that have been too ludicrous even for you? Jeez Louise.
Okay, that's a 2-part question.
He's not even trying to have a discussion at this point.
No. Well, I will answer the second part at least, the one, because at least I remember that. Yeah, QAnon. QAnon's one I never really fell for. In the beginning stages, I thought, hey, maybe there's some good people out there trying to fucking help, and there still might be. But in terms of the overall theory of QAnon, I don't get on that train.
Another psyop. QAnon.
I think it's a psyop within a psyop. I think that they utilize the psyop to make it a psyop, so people think someone's coming to save them.
Has the government ever come to your door?
I never will.
Jeremy Eat World. Based on his Midwest accent, I'm guessing he's close to Hiller. Let's hook them up. Oh. No. This guy's East Coast. Are you?
Yeah, born and raised in Chicago. So good guess.
Oh, damn.
And
30 years.
Jeremy's in Milwaukee. Wow, this chat is crazy night. What about when skydivers jump from heights? Hey, pool boy, what's up? What about when skydivers jump from heights so high they can see the curvature of the Earth? You got to see the movie, by the way. There's a spot in Hawaii, for example. Go ahead, tell him, Sean.
I think that would just go back to the point he was making about the perspective.
Ooh, no, it's not. It's nothing to do with that. Oh my God. Is someone jumping out of a plane? Okay, hold on.
You can pull up where even that dipshit who's the astrophysicist?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah,
Neil deGrasse Tyson has already stated, your priest, not my priest. We've already debunked him, which is why he states these things, because of the pressure people like me and others and even bigger people put out there on him for the public. And that is that, number one, we were all taught probably as children, at least my generation, that, yeah, you can see the curve out of the airplane, right? All right, yeah, sure. That's 7 miles up. Cruising altitude, maybe 8-9 miles. So there's the curve, 8 miles. They jump out of a plane. There's probably, I don't think they go 8-9. They probably, I don't know. They can go 10, 15, doesn't matter. Because what happened was we started debunking that. We started going up high with levelers, putting spirit levels on planes, doing all this rulers and the wind. And the pilots are like, yeah, it's a station. We're not spinning. Like it's a plane. It's flat as a pancake down there. Like we have pilots like we did all that already in 2014, 2015. We've moved on. But to at least combat that a little bit, Neil deGrasse Tyson has admitted 2 separate times now. He moved the goalpost, okay, which we made him do. First, he went on national TV and said that the Red Bull jump, everyone brought up the Red Bull jump, the big curve, right? I call it Planet New Mexico. But the curve, Felix Baumgartner, Red Bull, he jumped out. Look at this big curve of the earth. And they even made Felix say on TV, I saw the curve of the earth. Okay. You made it worse. You just made everything worse, man. So Neil deGrasse Tyson was asked about that curve. And Neil deGrasse Tyson had to admit it. You're not going to lie like that. And you're going to be fucked up after that. So what happened was Neil deGrasse Tyson says, I don't have a problem with Felix doing it, but when people think that that's the curve of the earth, that's when I have a problem. He says that this guy was a millimeter above. He had a beach ball earth, as he always does. He always has props. Above this beach ball, he says. This guy's a millimeter above this beach ball. That stuff is flat. These are his words. That stuff is flat. There is no curve. It's a fisheye lens, he said. This is a fisheye lens, which it is. You look down there. We already looked. That's like a river in New Mexico. Like you could. So if you follow that curve and make a ball, half the world is one city in New Mexico. Half the ball is one city. That doesn't make any sense. Nor did he land east at all or whatever. Like nothing spinning below him. He's up there for how long? He lands in almost the same spot. Like none of it made sense, but it's not even my point. They're talking about jumping out of a plane, which is 7 miles. I just talked about 23. Neil said, no way. You can't see any curvature out of 23 miles. And then the tipper for me was Richard Branson. Richard Branson goes up, and Neil deGrasse Tyson's invited right back on Good Morning America, or wherever he was. Look at Branson's in space. Oh my God, Neil, look at the curve of the earth from 63 miles up. Now that is, I don't know, 7, 8 times an airplane, right? So your little skydiver, let's rule him out now. We're 7 times higher, 6, 7 times higher. I'm not a mathematician, but we're high. 63 miles up there.
60 miles is more than 300,000 feet.
Yeah. And guess what Neil deGrasse Tyson said? No, that's a fisheye lens. Again. Yeah, he admitted it. Because he goes, you can't see the curve from 63 miles. The
answer is that there is no curve. If you go up there and you hold a ruler, or next time anyone's up in an airplane, he's claiming hold a ruler on the window of the
whole
horizon.
Flight.
Yeah. And you will see that there is no curvature.
Also, bring a spirit leveler with you if you really want to get froggy about it. Bring a spirit level, which, by the way, it's liquid always has to find level. So
I can remember, Sean.
That's why it's there. But take a spirit level with you and put it on your drop down, your laptop holder. Put it there. If you know anything about flying and you know anything about a trigonometry and spherical trigonometry and geometry, the airplane would have to be dipping its nose down every 5 miles. It would have to, there's a certain degree it has to, because if you're going from the top of the North Pole and you want to travel all the way to China, that spirit level will be dipping its nose. The plane's gonna be dipping its nose down consistently, and the spirit level is going to be rolling back. Well, we all know that's not going to happen, even when you fathom it in your head, because you're flying over a flat, stationary plane, Earth. The airplane, if anything, the only degree the airplane nose is turning, I've talked to dozens of pilots, is up. A 0.1 or 0.2 degrees up is the only dip that the nose of the plane will do. So if you live on a ball and you're only going to fly straight and level, you do not dip your nose down. If anything, you dip it up, like I said. And you're going from here to here, and you just keep going straight and level, you're in your magical space now. You have to dip the nose. You have to come back around. And every pilot I talk to goes, no, it's a gyroscope. It's all autopilot. It's literally a gyroscope in there controlling everything. You have to maintain your level. You have to maintain that artificial horizon, that's flat line in the airplane. It's flat it's a line for a reason. You have to keep it level. The level plane below you will dip. You have to understand that once you start to land your plane, that's when you're like, whoa, something's going on. You'll wake up. You'll wake up from it because you're feeling that motion. But the entire airplane, and when people go, well, well, that explains the spin of the earth. Everything's just together spinning. Like, no. You have to remove the top of the airplane and double the plane speed and dip the nose down every 5 miles to make up for the earth spin. Now tell me how your cup of water is doing on your plane. Because people always do that. Well, get a cup of water on an airplane. Everything's fine. You're in a containment. The earth in heliocentrism is not in a containment. Why doesn't everything just fly off into space? There's a vacuum of space above us and there's no container. Why aren't we just going up? There's no explanations for the fantasies of heliocentrism. There's no explanation. There's just fantasy. There's literal just fantasy. And then they do formulas to back their fantasies. Me and you can come up with a model of anything and our math will back up our model.
Clearly that's been happening.
Yeah, right.
Souza, do you believe the earth is a stationary plane? Sevan?
Here's what I believe in. Open communication, processing issues, talking to people that have differing opinions of mine, entertaining it, thinking about it, and opening my mind, and also being respectful while doing it. Because I'm not an emotional 13-year-old girl that has to call names and immediately get upset. I could sit here, I could listen, I could disagree, I could agree, I could process, and I could take something away from the conversation.
It's a great answer. I wish everybody said that.
He's avoiding answering. I've said on the show a million times. What did you say?
I said he asked you too, Sevan. You can answer. You're there then.
I'll tell you. I've said on the show a million fucking times. I don't fucking believe anything. I think believing shit is for fucking suckers.
No, me too.
It's like when people say
you can know though. If you want to know, Sevan, you can know.
Knowing is the way.
I want you to know though that you can know if you want to know. You can know.
And how is that?
Well, we could see too far. Let's start there. We could see too far. On a basic spherical trigonometry, basic.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't have a sphere. Nobody could come up with a better formula than what NASA gives us and what mainstream already gives us because it's a formula. The spherical, 24,000 miles circumference ball, right? There's a curvature rate. There's a curvature drop. We all agree. If you're an ant on a beach ball, you're going to
It's
lift
like
them up. You're going to
feet every 5 miles or something, right? Supposedly.
No, it's 8 inches per mile square.
What's
8
that
inches
mean,
per mile square.
Does that just mean per mile?
8 inches per mile squared is the actual formula of curvature drop.
Oh, meaning
so just to give you a broader example,
100
miles away is 666 feet of curvature drop from the observer to that curvature drop. There's 600, or no, I'm sorry, that's 6,000. My bad. 10 miles away. I'm sorry, 10 miles away. So what you do, the formula is if it's 10 miles away, you have to go 10 times 10 because it's square. You have to square it. You have to understand that a curvature drop is in every direction. So I'm not saying it's a mile every 8 inches. No, it's 8 inches per mile squared. So it keeps increasing and increasing. The further you go out, the more the drop, right? So with that trigonometry, whatever formula that they give us, dude, I mean, this is the layman's term for their trigonometry, okay, that we're supposed to believe. I know you guys are smarter than this, but this is the actual physics and math that they tell us on their spherical ball measurements, is that a 6-foot man standing on a calm water at the edge of the calm sand of the water, right? The beach. 6-foot man should only and can only see 3 miles out because there's a 6-foot curvature drop 3 miles away. Okay. So if you're 6 foot tall, you can only physically see 3 miles away from you with your eyeballs before there's a physical curve there stopping it. It is curving away and you can't see anymore. So we all know we
should be at 3 feet or at 3 miles.
3 miles exactly, but we can see things with our naked eyes 15 miles away. We can see things with a P900 or a P1000 camera that has a 120x optical zoom, which the sky and the ground meet. That's where the horizon is. It's not a physical horizon. We're not on a ball. It's an optical illusion. It's an optical horizon. You can zoom in and open that up and go in to that pocket of your eyeballs aren't going to go past it. You can zoom in now and zoom in and go past it. The P1000 is the best camera for that. That's why it's not in every Best Buy, because people were buying it for the reasons that they didn't want. So it's kind of a camera like you got to know someone that knows someone type of camera to know about them. But that's no better camera in the whole world or telescope, period, is going to do what this thing does. And this thing will bring, especially if you have, what is it called? What's it called? The filter, the solar, right?
ND filters. ND filters.
Yes, different filters to help your zoom. It'll help, open up. Dude, we have, in the next level, my last year's film, even I think Level With Me is better, but next level last year, Jay Tolan Media, he's a long distance photography, broke records. Okay. He was never a flat earther until he started zooming in on stuff and goes, wait a minute, that mountain's 700 miles away. 700 miles away. I just told you, if you're 6 foot tall, you can't see past 3 miles. It's a physical ball. There's no physical ball. It's optical. Your eyeballs can't see it. You're looking through clouds, atmosphere, fog, chemtrails, contrails, weather patterns, smoke, fire, dander, dew, you name it. It's all compressing into a thick medium, and you're not going to be able to see through that. The clouds in the distance look like they're touching the ground, but we all know the clouds are not touching the ground, right? The clouds are down there. The clouds are still 10,000 feet above their heads.
That's a good one.
It's collapsing like the hotel room in Vegas I've seen. It all collapses. You just can't see that far with your eyes, guys. I'm sorry. Get over it. Right. Okay, that's it. But when you zoom in on things that we have 100, 200, 300 miles away, you see everything. We can see too far. So again, when you do the math yourself that you're presented with, that they say, hey, you live on a 24,000 mile circumference basketball. You could do your own. You could do your own. You don't even need their formula. You can go, okay, how far out before there's a dip and how many feet and how high do I have to be to see the dip? And we've done every angle of every math. Either the earth is a stationary plane or the ball earth is about 500 times bigger than they told us. It's one or the other.
Is that an option?
No, it's not, unfortunately, because they've never proven axial rotation. They've never proven movement. Listen, if there were science experiments that me, you, and him, of all of us, everyone listening to, can do tomorrow to prove, of course, the earth is moving, we'd all go do it. Name an experiment that can prove that off the top of your head. What can we do, guys? I looked for years. There's nothing. They don't even pretend. Like there's a way to do it. They just shut up. They don't even talk about it in education. They won't even, because they don't want to mention the 7 science experiments in the early 1900s that proved, of course, we're not moving. It's actually a joke to people back then.
So what's the proof we have that the Earth is round?
There is none.
Okay. Jake Gazan,
the Earth is round? Yeah, there is. No.
Jake Gazan, the Earth travels at 18.5 miles per second around the sun.
Cool story.
That's what NASA says.
Oh, yeah.
18.5 miles per hour in 60 seconds times 60 minutes is 6,660 miles per hour.
Yeah,
that's
true.
666. That's kind of weird. Not saying it's flat, but that's weird.
Yeah. Also, what was it? The degree of rotation, 66.6 degrees as well. There's a lot of 666 with nasty NASA guys. There's a lot of 666s involved with them. They're all Freemasons. They're all, they're just in a club, man. And the only ones that have ever been up there, the only ones that have ever gone past 73 miles are the 550 Masons that have a patch that says NASA. And they all play ping pong on harnesses. So it's like, again, they're in a group. They're in a club. We're not in it. That's it.
Are you looking at these comments by any chance?
No. Should I?
No. Fuck no.
Oh, okay. No, dude, I don't really care about haters, man.
No.
They got 3 jabs.
A couple times in the middle, like at the 40-minute mark, you got a little wound up, and I wasn't sure if I was pissing you off or the comments. I'm glad to know.
Probably the coffee, none of you.
Okay, good. Okay, Tim Brown, where does it all end if it's flat? It's a fucking great question. No, I don't think.
Yeah, that is a great question. It is a great question. I wish we could go find that out, man. Again, we can't legally travel past 60th parallel, which is already a red flag in its own. I don't see how that's not a red flag, even if you're a ball believer. You can't explore Antarctica? Why the fuck not? What are you talking about? What are you hiding over there? And
first,
you know what?
First honest comment in the comments. I got to turn this shit off. I'm starting to think the Earth is flat.
Well, here's the thing. I don't want anyone
go
to
watch
think
his
anything.
movies and freak out.
Well, there's not to freak out. It's to gain wisdom. If we don't have wisdom, we ain't got nothing, man. Now listen, there is no, as far as I'm concerned, my opinion
isn't real. Sasquatch isn't real.
Yeah, they are, man.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was like you until I experienced them 3 years ago. This is recent. So
where?
East Texas, east of Dallas, like hour east, like in the wilderness. Yeah.
Were you looking for them?
Was that just
No? They live in my buddy's. He lives on he's got a nice house out there. He's in the film Flat Earth Millionaire. Tanner Stewart. He's got a lot of acres of land, and they live in his back. I mean, he's got a forest that goes miles and miles and miles and miles, just nothing but forest. There's no humans living there, no houses, no pets, no nothing. And every night we have a bonfire there. You hear them, you feel them, you sense them, you hear them. Yeah, again, here's the thing. When I went there, it wasn't, he didn't even know how to tell me, man. I was there to shoot my first documentary level with him because he knew a lot of information about they're hiding more land and stuff. I wanted him in the film, obviously. And I go to his house and I talked to him for years. So it was like, it wasn't like a stranger to me, but nice house, everything. That night, he's like, I don't know how to tell you this. And I don't want you to judge me. And I'm like, oh, what's up, man? And he started talking about Sasquatch. And of course I'm judging him like everyone's probably judging me. I get it. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. I'm like, why am I here? In my head, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is like this guy. I'm like, oh my God, this is bad. And all of a sudden, I forgot, out of sight, out of mind, like anybody would, about what he just said. Later that evening, he sets the bonfire up, which now we do it all the time. They come out all the time. But he knew what was going to happen. He set the bonfire up. He knew. We were just chilling. We smoke weed, so we're smoking weed, just kind of relaxing. And no, I wasn't too high. Don't worry. Because I've heard it sober. Don't worry. I can't explain it. You have to be there. It's not a sense of sight. It's every sense in your body that something is there 100% besides sight. And it sucks to talk about because it's like talking about more land. I can't go verify it. I can't go see it for myself. So everyone's going to be like, oh my God, you're speculating.
Well, do you think you have a higher level of perception than most people and that something's going on there?
No, I don't even think it's that. I think that we've been lied to about everything, and including the things that they go out of their way to make fun of, like a pancake, snow globe, flat earth. You Google search flat earth, hit images, you see a bunch of pancakes in space. Why would you want to look into it farther? That's hilarious. But none of us have ever said that. But yet CNN says we say it. Netflix documentaries say we think that. So why would you continue researching flat earth if they're just a pancake in space in a solar system? It's stupid. Same thing with Sasquatch, Harry and the Hendersons, Chewbacca, just making fun of Bigfoot as a universal thing. That's a red flag.
$6 million man, $6 million. He was in the $6 Million Man. Do you remember that show?
Yeah.
You remember that one where the Sasquatch?
Vaguely, yeah.
Has Sean ever solved an unfinished physics problem he found on a chalkboard in college? He's a janitor at. Listen, God damn.
Yeah, no, I don't go to college, man. College makes you dumber. Unless you need a certificate because you want to get in a certain trade, you can go to trade school at that point. But actual colleges, in my opinion, will make you dumber in terms of general ed because they're just indoctrinating you more with Rockefeller's education. So the people that talk shit about me for thinking outside the box and going outside of Rockefeller's educational system, just know that you're defending Rockefeller. If you want to defend Rockefeller, then I bet you love your vaccines because thank God for Rockefeller and petroleum-based medicine. You wouldn't have all this shit without him. What him and his families have done to our country is a disgrace. But people want to make fun of me for thinking outside the box because it's, laziness, jealousy, and they want to look at me as a normal person. So I can't think that I know things because I'm just a normal person. But bullshit, because no matter how insane someone thinks I am, I guarantee I'm not wrong.
Hey, by the way, I will definitely jump on that. If you don't know about petroleum-based medicine, you don't know the history of medicine, you don't know about the Rockefellers, there's tons of great books on it. It's a place where what he's saying converges with kind of modern medicine, which is also kind of horseshit too, and we know that. And endless, the top medical journals in the world, the people who work there will tell you that more than 50% of the content inside of there is hogwash, and we know that medicine is the third leading cause of death. But if you want to see some scary shit, read this book called The Moth and the Iron Lung. Read Dissolving Illusions. Look at anything that talks about the history of medicine. It's scary that it used to be petroleum based. It is, and I'm talking about like in our lifetime. And also, don't remember shit like George Washington was bled to death by the medical establishment supposedly trying to heal him. I mean, these are things that are. I mean, I wasn't there, but they're agreed upon. No one's disputing these things. No one's like. Everyone says that Washington was bled to death because of bad medical advice. Well,
hey, again, I mean, you can't defend. I mean, you can't say, "Oh, I hate petroleum-based medicine. I'm against it." Who started that? Okay, Rockefeller. Okay, well, fuck him and the bloodline, the families. Fuck all them. They're scumbags. But we do love their education books. Like you can't, I don't know, like you can't. It just doesn't add up to me to defend people. And again, it's like defending Hollywood's version of a space movie.
What about Hitler killing the Jews? Is that real? That's a scary one. You're probably afraid to talk about that.
No, I'm not afraid to talk about anything, man. I've looked down that rabbit hole too. I didn't look deep into it, but the information that I received from people that did look down those rabbit holes. Yeah. Well, yeah, the official story of World War II is nothing what actually happened. I mean, it's not even close. No. It's kind of like 9/11 where, I mean, come on, guys with box cutters took over our security teams, hijacked planes, knew exactly where to drive them to. No one stopped them. And then the last one just went down and disappeared into like a hole somewhere, like not even a fucking engine or a wing anywhere. No one cares. You're just like, yeah, I don't know. They keep zooming in on the towers.
Are the concentration camps not real?
The concentration camps, man. I wasn't there, dude. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. I do know that our history is false. The narrative of our history is false.
Yeah.
Why would I believe the official story of any war? I'm not going to believe. Right. Do you believe the official story of World War III?
You mean the Ukraine thing?
No. World War III, what we're living in. COVID-19 is World War III.
No. I don't that's all.
Okay, so you don't believe in the official World War III that they're selling us on TV every day? You're not believing the official story? Okay, well, I don't believe in the official story of World War II or World War I or Civil War or slavery or the slave ships.
Well, it's crazy to think. It's crazy once you're an adult to think that Columbus discovered America. I mean, that I think everyone knows that. I don't think anyone. I just assumed that everyone got to a certain age and you knew that, like, because discovered means that, like, you found something. It's like when you discover your first pubic hair, you actually are the first person to discover it. You're like, holy shit, I found my first. It's fucking retarded to think that Columbus discovered America.
Well, don't they still teach it, right?
Sure. They do still teach it. It's a great point. Eric Utley, is this true? In 1957, the Soviets. You're saying the ferment is the thing.
The ocean above.
The ocean above. Okay, I was thinking it was like a glass, like a cookie dome, like when you cover your cookies, to protect them from flies.
No, not in my opinion. Absolutely not.
Okay, but it's something like it's an ocean up there.
It's a barrier. It's a H3. I call it H3. It's a form of hydrogen that is impenetrable. It's the densest form of hydrogen known to mankind. It's also the most electric. It's the electric grid of our system, our gradient system in our realm. Electricity is higher the farther you go up. So there's more electricity the higher you go up. That's why when lightning strikes, you fly up when lightning strikes. It's electrostatics. No, I don't believe in a dome though, like a glass dome over us, like the Truman Show. I don't believe in that. I don't contest to that whatsoever. There's no evidence for it. There's only one reference in an encyclopedia, which is a government issued book. I do not believe the government. I know their tricks. And I do not believe in a dome, a glass dome where you can write your name on the wall somewhere. Okay. Absolutely not.
Okay, so did the Soviets really nuke that thing?
Yes, it's not a thing. It's just they wanted to see how high they could reach. They wanted to see how far it wasn't a nuclear or anything, by the way. It's just, it's a missile. So they sent up layers and layers of missiles straight up in the air, and it exploded. This is in Level With Me, the recent documentary. Go to levelwithmefilm.com. You go the missiles go up and it hits something and explodes outwards. So if you think about a missile going straight up into this magical space, it would go for a while before maybe it exploded. Eventually it ran out of room. I don't know. It hit a space junk. I don't fucking know what people believe in.
Sean, they have an explanation for it that they taught us, that basically we have a thin.
What did Wikipedia say? Let me know.
It's a thin atmosphere that's around the Earth. That's basically part of the Earth. This thin layer,
the Van Allen radiation belts, whatever they call it.
And that at the top of that, there is I don't know what's at the fucking top of it, but basically that's why things have to break through at a fucking angle.
Well, no, I mean, no, they call it mainstream narrative is Van Halen. No,
It's like
Van Allen radiation belts.
Epidermis on our body. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's a Van Allen radiation belts is what they call it, which is why we haven't been back to the moon. They blame these radiation belts where it's not safe to travel through, but we went there 6 times, I thought. Well, obviously now knowing that we faked all 6 of them, they also admit they can't get past low Earth orbit, which is in fancy terms, flying around your head 20 miles in the sky, going 100 miles an hour and selling it to you on TV as something else. I mean, that's why every rocket of NASA goes up, they level out, and they disappear out of your sight. They disappear. And where do they launch them from, guys? Florida and Houston, we have a problem. They're both going to the ocean. And you know where that track is? Has anyone ever trailed that with their finger on a map? The Bermuda Triangle is right there from both perspectives. And when you look at the angle of where they're arcing before they level out and take off like an airplane, you don't see it anymore. You don't see NASA anymore. Yeah. They're going right to the Bermuda Triangle. And from Texas going that way, from Florida going that way. They're both going to the Bermuda Triangle. People have said before, I cannot verify this, but I do believe these people, that they have found old stuff from old Google Earth programs, meaning a value, like 10 editions ago, 20 editions ago, you can download the old editions and they would have different maps and different structures of Google Earth, but they had other stuff out there that's not on there now, including the main tool was to measure. Actually, I think you could still do this. This is a good one though. You can measure anything on Google Earth. So you could take like a stencil, you could click there, click. So you click all around and it makes a circle around Africa, right? And it'll tell you, boom, it'll just turn into this circle. Yeah, you did it. You did a good job. You circled it. Here's the square footage of all of what you just circled, right? All the measurements, everything. You could do that anywhere in the world besides 2 places. Can you name those 2? Just guess. Guess the 2 places that when you circle on the globe, they don't give you shit.
The South Pole
and
the North Pole.
Correct. Because the North Pole on Google Earth is nothing now. When we were kids, it was a sheet of ice. When our grandparents were kids, there was land there. Ask them if they're still alive. There was 4 land masses there. All maps charted it up until a certain part of our history. Then they took it off. 4 land masses there. Google searched Hyperborea. Hyperborea. Hyperborea.
That's Google
Hyperborea
Earth.
North Pole. You will find there's tons of maps from the past, but my point is this. When you circle around that little ocean, the North Pole that they call now the North Pole, it's just water now, basically. You circle around it, it reverses it and gives you an error, basically, with no stats. You do it to the peninsula of the South Pole, Antarctica. You measure it and circle around it. It'll do a backwards moon effect and give you an error. Because obviously you can't, that's not Antarctica. And that's not the North Pole. Aurora Borealis, in my opinion, is coming out of a magnetic mountain, Mount Meru. If you research Mount Meru, every ancient talked about it. Every map had it on the map, literally drawn on the map. There's a magnetic force coming from a mountain. So our compass is pointing north. There's a force that's telling you, bzz, 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 like, come past, come north, come. There's something there that they don't want us to know about. That's all I know. And that's why they have intertwined Santa Claus and the North Pole beautifully, because anyone in the streets, you say, first thing you think of when you hear North Pole, go. Santa Claus.
Yeah, Santa Claus. But Superman also had some shit up there. Do you remember that in that one Superman movie?
I never watched them now.
Oh, he had
I don't think I've seen any Superman movie, to be honest.
He had he threw a crystal out in the North Pole and this fucking empire grew, and that's where he got away.
Well, the one thing someone shared this with me a couple years ago, but there was My Little Pony, to be honest, a cartoon for children, but I guess their Equestria map is called. They have the North
for pedophiles, but anyway,
they have the North Pole there with the Aurora Borealis coming out in their intro video. So they're kind of like truth in plain sight, kind of. But the point is that like I take the words of people like you, me, and everyone listening, humans. I'm done with corporations. I'm done with government entities. I'm done with education, universities, all of them. They're all in this club. They're all against us. They all want to govern our mind, government, our mental state of mind, and program us. They call it tell-lie vision programming. And they tell you to your face what they're doing. They're telling you a vision. They're going to program you with their vision, and you need to tune in. I mean, here's the thing: we're energy, so we're based on frequencies. Now, if you know that the frequencies above us, the lights in the sky, are for us, we can tap into them spiritually, mentally, and tap in and utilize them like the powerful people do. They pray to Saturn. Saturn's their number one star in the sky. They manifest all their power from it. They will admit that. They have admitted it. And they show you in symbolism all the time. Saturn, everything's in the shape of Saturn. Even the universal intro of your movies, the dun 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 dun.
Hey,
that's not the Earth. That's not the Earth. That's not the Earth.
They're not. Would you join the Freemasons? Would you join the Freemasons if they asked you?
Fuck no. Why the fuck would I do that? Hell no.
I don't know, just to be on that side, just like if there's two sides.
I don't want to be on none of that side. Listen, they have to go through some crazy shit, and then they're told the Earth's flat. I've taught the Masons before. You could talk to a Mason that's a stranger. Their business card, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, fuck, he's a Mason. All right, man, cool, nice to meet you. By the way, you know the Earth's flat, right? He goes, yeah, what? Yeah, I do. Like, they're serious because in Masonry, there's levels, and a certain level, you start getting enlightened with knowledge. And there's information. Then you get to a higher level of shit that you don't want to be a part of, I'm assuming. And at that point, it's you go all in and you don't get out, or you back out and you might get taken out. I feel like it's like a gang where they have little gangs that aren't going to do any damage. You got the lower level gangs, and then you got the high rank gangs, and you got the gangs that are running religions, gangs that are funding wars. They're all Masons. There's no coincidence to me. You start talking about from Neil deGrasse Tyson, anyone we named, Bill Gates, they're all Masons. These fucking people are all Freemasons. So we need to stop acting like it's a conspiracy. These Freemasons have power ever since they took over the masonry of our world before us. This is why it's all tied in together.
Type that in, Caleb. Bill Gates, Mason. Okay, here we go. We're still fighting. Get out your gloves. What am I and others that don't buy what you're selling jealous of in regards to you, Sean?
What am I selling? I don't understand. What is he? What is? I don't get the question.
He's basically saying that you said to him, "Hey, you're just jealous, you fat fuck," or something. I don't know.
No, I said haters are jealous. Yeah, I guess if he's admitting that he's a hater, then he's jealous because I know more about the heliocentric ball theory and model that he's defending than he does. So if he wants, he could go ahead and call the show in right now and put his money where his mouth is, and we'll debate on your show for 10 minutes, and I'll make you cry live on the air.
I will need to pee briefly if we do that.
Okay.
How do you manage to get through a day without stepping into traffic if you actually believe all of these things you're saying? Does this earn money? I don't understand. What does he mean by that? Step out into traffic?
I don't know. Just thank you for giving. I hope he's giving tips to you guys for these.
Yeah, $4.99.
Oh yeah, keep on bringing them. Maybe I'll feed him more so he'll keep coming back. Hey, guy. Yeah, the Earth's spinning, man. Cool. That's thanks for all your proof, man. I appreciate it. Did you send the show any links? Did you send the show any links or evidence? Hey,
by the way, I've never seen this guy. I've never seen this guy, by the way.
_. Oh, I got trolls everywhere. They follow me everywhere. _. Do me a favor. Send in a link. Don't even tip them for this one. Send in the link of your favorite picture of Earth from space so we could share it for the audience. Please, just send it in. Send us a link of your favorite. And once you go to Google and go to images and go to Earth from space and you see the results, you might become a flat earther. Go ahead and look. I want you to find your favorite. And actually, we'll give him a few minutes, but if he doesn't, you guys should do that for your audience. I really want you guys to see satellites from space and Earth from space.
What about Starlink? What
Google,
about
but hear me out. Not conspiracy images, guys. Google images. The stuff that they're supposed to feed you is truth and reality, and this is where we live. When you go to Google Images to see satellites from space or Earth from space, you will be disappointed, is my point. And that's why in all flat Earth, round Earth debates, you know what the globe Earth people never bring up? You know what they never, ever, ever, ever bring up? They'll bring up a guy from 3,000 years ago looking through a telescope. that the Earth's a ball because of that. Think about that logically. It makes no sense. But they will never pull up photos or videos of anything ever. Why? Why not? That should be your first source. You'd be like, dude, look at all these photos and videos. This is awesome. Yeah. Again, I mean, this is all done in Hollywood, in CGI-ville, in NASAville. This is all, it's either fisheye lens. If it looks like it could be real, watch longer. If it's like, that does look like it's like the Earth is real, but beneath them, the astronaut's doing his selfie. No one wants to see your fucking ass, dude. Show us the Earth. And you know what? I will give $10,000 to the first person that provides me with a link of an astronaut ever since 1969 when they started this bullshit. Sorry, 1958 they started the company, but since 69 to today, show me a video of an astronaut with their iPhone or with their camera, whatever they're using, doing a 360. Complete 360. It's been done 0 times. And the reason it's been done 0 times is because of the fourth wall issue. If you don't know what the fourth wall issue is, I can't help you, but there's a fourth wall there, guys. It's not
because the tube, you don't want to get tangled. I figured it was just because you don't want to tangle your tube up that's putting oxygen into your spacesuit. Yeah,
that's why they drown in space, right? You know, they train underwater in an underwater buoyancy lab with an exact mock-up of the ISS. That's public information as well.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So if they already can do it under the water and the footage is flawless. I've been on shows where I'm showing them their underwater footage publicly underwater footage. And they go, that's them in space. And I go, no, that's not them in space. That's them underwater. No, you could tell it's space. I go, dude, this is public that it's underwater. I know it looks similar, but no, they just film stuff underwater and then make us look like they're in space. And they it's very, very simple, man.
Is this supposed to be true or is this just theoretical?
No, like I said, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
My goal in life is to besides eradicate the children trafficking, and there's strategies to get that done. I think we all need to focus on that number one right now. But my number one side goal in my life is to eradicate the 60th parallel. Period. What we should not have a Antarctic treaty telling us we can't go somewhere. I don't give a fuck, man. You get a 10-mile wildlife reserve in your backyard for your pet, and you got a 10 miles. So that's a lot of space. They'll still go to that fence. They want to know what's over there, but they might be okay with 10 miles. But you give them like a bathroom radius fence, they're going to be crazy. They're going to go insane with that, and because they want to get out of there. Human beings, man, you can give them, hey, man, 20,000-mile fence. We still want to go. You don't want to go see what's over there? To you might not be a fence. Ball believers, I get it. I understand that. Hopefully you break out of this fucking heliocentric religion, but in the reality of it, if there is more land, like Admiral Byrd said, like all those books in the 1800s said, and by the way, those books in the 1800s were mentioning flat screen TVs on their wall over there in those lands, advanced technology, electric cars, the internet, even though they didn't say internet, it was a different word. They were talking about Bluetooth streaming in 1800s in books. They were talking about tons of continents. There was maps found in Buddhist temples with there's
do you think there's some 50 continents on there? Greek mythology too of stuff coming down from the heavens, Prometheus getting fire from the Titans up above, shit like that. You think there's some?
I don't know. Yeah. As you could agree, those have to be.
You think we're in Atlantis? Do you think this? When you say that there's water above us, you think we're in this is the lost city of Atlantis? We're in it.
No, I think this entire realm was designed for us. I'm just going to guess, but I'm going to guess probably about 20 to 30 continents on this giant Earth, and we've been lied about. The 7 continents in the center have been in slavery for over 100 years and lied to about everything. And I think maybe, just maybe now, this is a test. This is a lab. We're lab rats. We're an experiment in the center of the world. We're an experiment for the ones that run it, in a sense. And maybe those civilizations out there are still free, left alone. They have, look at their Grenada Treaty. Eisenhower signed something with someone else, humanoid. I don't know, whatever they call them. Not a gray guy with bug eyes. No, that's all Hollywood nonsense. But in terms of think about the first time an African American saw an Asian for the first time in actual human history. Now we're all human, but I'm sure that day was awkward for both. We look nothing alike, but we are the same, right? You have a nose, I have a nose. You have teeth, do you shit? I shit. They're like, what the fuck? But so what are you? I'm me. Well, what are you? I'm me. What are they? They're probably just like us. There might be maybe different skin tone, maybe different look.
You seen aliens?
I'm talking about the extraterrestrials from the extra terrain, the outer space.
Have you seen any of those? Have you ever met one of those?
Have I ever met an extra
someone who's on the other side of the wall?
No.
Yeah, and someone who's on the other, who's been on the other side of the wall. Have you ever met anyone who claims to have visited these other continents?
Yeah, that's the most ignorant question of the evening. But
okay,
it's one of the no, just because you can't travel past there since the treaty started in 58.
But maybe they come in. Do they come in?
I think that both sides of the fence have treaties. Both sides are in some sort of agreement. I'm sure they have. Listen, man, look at Kiribati Island. There's shipping routes that are charted from Kiribati Island. I know you never heard of it, but if you look up Kiribati Island and look at their shipping routes, their shipping route, which is not being publicized, it just ends up in the middle of Antarctica. In the middle of Antarctica. Did it drive on ice for 3 weeks? How did it end up in the middle of Antarctica? It's because they're just traveling in the Southern Ocean, which we're not allowed to go explore. They go to the Southern Ocean and then they just enter a new continent, just like you're just stumbling upon Africa, the shoreline. There's definitely more continents out there. We need the right to go explore. We need the right for humanity to be interested enough in knowing that you're in a wildlife preserve right now. And they're telling you that you will be turned around by force if you go over there and try to explore on your own. Why do they want... Look at Truman Show. They know they put the truth in movies all the time. Look at the end of the movie. He found the edge of the earth, his world, right? Here's the edge of the world you know.
Yeah.
It's the end of the world you know, Truman.
Yeah.
Please stay here. Stay here with us. Don't explore. Don't go outside of the world that you know already.
Right.
And he went. He bowed and he went and explored. He went out. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what it would feel like. We would be entering another civilization, another form of humanoids.
Why is it ignorant? Because I should know that it's impenetrable. That it's.
No. You were saying like just going over there like it was a casual trip. Like I wouldn't have made that fucking 8 years ago, that trip. I'm saying like we can't go. Like us three, Alex Jones, I'm not a fan, but either way, Alex Jones literally was putting up a lot of money for him and Eddie and everybody to go to Antarctica to see if there's a ice shelf, 200-foot wall, even though we have video of it now from drones, but just to experience it. What do you mean? Because Alex didn't even understand. We can't go past the 60th parallel. Yes, we can. The fuck we can. I'm going to go. Let's go. Well, it turns out he understood right at that point. He goes, yeah, you can't. No one can go over there. Doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, unless you're visiting that peninsula for your 2-week vacation to pet some penguins. That's about it, guys. You're not going. There's one more other base, I think, by Australia that people can visit. There's one more little base, but you can't explore.
Gone. Oh, Caleb's gone. I was just wondering why we're not seeing the 60th parallel, but our boy Caleb must have fallen asleep.
No worries.
This is by the way, this is an S. I think this is like the easiest grip they have, or maybe the second. And then this is the one.
And by the way, I didn't mean to call you ignorant. That's not what I meant when I said ignorant.
If you did,
I meant ignorant question, because not you, but the question in itself, because I get it every week on so many shows about like, why don't you just go on a boat and go over there? Like, what are you talking about? Why don't you just walk into Area 51 naked? Get the fuck off of it. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? That is way more secure and under surveillance than even Area 51. So,
so there it is. He just answered Jake. He's, pardon my ignorance, why can't we go? He's saying because you'll get stopped. Some dudes with guns and boats and shit will come out.
Well, no, you're on radar, guys. I don't want people thinking that there's 8 billion people surrounding the circumference of the earth with guns at a wall somewhere. No, I don't want to paint that picture, but I will paint the picture of reality. And that's that they can see you 1,000 miles on the ocean across the way. Water's not curving, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care how offended you get with that. The water's not curving. They have radar systems set up for, listen, Marconi the scientist, the inventor, Marconi. Everybody knows Marconi. Marconi in the early 1900s invented systems, radio signals, right? He's in England and then went to Canada over 1,500 miles. It went across and reached. I think they were sending letters, whatever you call that. I forgot the word. They were sending shit over across the ocean,
code, like Morse code.
Yeah, something like that, to see if it reached. And it was over 1,500, almost 2,000 miles across the ocean. They're like, we got the signal. Yeah, the water doesn't curve, guys. So with that system known in place, and this is the early 1900s, I'm pretty sure they've mastered it by now. They know if you're 1,000 miles away from the no-no zone, whether it's in the air or on the sea, and they're going to go ahead and make a call and make sure that you get stopped. In my movie, The Next Level from last year, which is also on my website, there was guys traveling a little too far south. I'm not going to sit here and claim that they were 1 mile away from the ice wall. No, but they were traveling south. And when you're traveling south, and if it's not cleared, they need to know what's going on. You can't just be going south. And if you keep going south, you're going to hit the ice shelf, the shoreline of our world. And they don't want that. So a military boat did a U-turn on camera and told him and came in and said, you got to turn around immediately, get out of here, blah, blah, blah. The guys were kind of confused. Like, we're just hanging out. We're just going that way. No, turn around. And all of a sudden they go, you hear the guys in the boat go, is that a fucking drone? Sending drones at him. So again, and that's just one boat. So imagine, how many boats are we going to need to really go, you know what? Fuck you and your wildlife fence. I want to know what the hell's over there. And guess what? If there's not more land, I'll admit I'm wrong. But every red flag over the past 10 years of research has led me to understand that there will be. Doesn't mean that I have to have concrete evidence to say that. I'm sorry. Give me 1,000 red flags and call it a day, guys. I'm not saying it's speculation anymore. We need to go over there and see what's going on. We need to go to the north and see what our system is made from, how it's made. Admiral Byrd, the same guy, had a diary that they hid from everybody. I don't know if it's real. I'm not him. I'm just referencing what has been told and what is real, meaning there's a real diary out there. The government apparently took away and they hid it up. They covered it up, but some of it leaked. He said that there was giants in the north that greeted him. Okay. He explored the North Pole, and these were not titans, but giants, probably the lost history people before us. They're in the north. That's restricted. And that's possibly more restricted than the south.
Sean, do you think I need to pull this podcast down off of YouTube and only leave it on Rumble, Twitter, and Facebook and Twitch?
No, because I don't. You can only. The only thing you can't talk about on YouTube present day is vaccines, and we haven't really went into that much.
Okay.
I mean, if anything, cut out any jab talk, but we didn't have much.
Okay. Yeah. Sean has some really good points. I think some constructive feedback is that his overall presentation needs a bit refining.
In what sense? Yeah, again, I don't have like slides behind me to prove everything, man. Nor was I like in the mode that I would have needed to do that today.
Gabe Epstein, fuck it, I'm down. Let's go on this voyage.
Thanks, Gabe. But for the last comment, that's why I make films. This is why I spend years and 12 hours a night in my chair and suffer through terrible neck pains and issues so I can make films to answer all your questions. So I can make films showing the evidence. So I can make films showing a rocket with cameras on it going straight up and hitting water at 72 miles high. I don't understand what else I can do but show people things in a film standpoint, because I could do 1,000 podcasts a week. I ain't going to wake people up more than a movie. I'm sorry.
Dude, you're always welcome on here. What's your next project?
Appreciate it.
What's your next project? I can't believe how active the chat is about this subject.
If you got more questions, I got like 10, 15 more minutes maybe. So.
My bladder's going to explode. Tell me this. What's your
next movie?
What's your next movie that's going to come out?
I don't have a release date. I'm never going to do that again. I've made the mistake the last few years of release dates, and you want to jump in front of a train when you're independent and you have no money and no team. You don't do release dates anymore. But my no release date, but it's going to be called Old World Order. It will be out next year, hopefully mid next year, if not earlier. I'm going to be boots on the ground, traveling the country, traveling out of the country, meeting up with the experts on our lost civilization, the Tartarian Empire, the history of it all, putting the pieces together, trying to make a 101 documentary film with a lot of traveling. Man, I have to travel a lot. The last few films, I didn't have to travel too much. This one's going to be ridiculous. So traveling and setting drones. I want to see these buildings, these massive structures, from angles that nobody has seen ever. And that's what drones are for. Okay. So
I'm
I
traveling
want
for my first
want,
movie in 5 years.
Yeah. Well, you know what, man? I think a lot of people believe that there used to be giants at one point, right? Like back in the day or something. Some sort of belief in the sense. I want to prove it without proving it in a sense, right? Like there's not going to be a 30-foot dude to greet me on camera. I granted, but maybe if I could find a 30-foot dude doorway with a 30-foot dude hand-sized doorknob. Can you explain that?
With a 30-inch Trojan.
But again, the official story, which is why I'm making the film, the official story would have been, no, the little guys in horse and buggy built all that. What are you talking about? And then they took it all down 2 years later. They left a few up, but that's why every major city in America and possibly the world, if you keep going, every time I do it, I see it. Every major city had a major fire in the early 1900s. Coincidence? No, they were burning remnants of our civilization before us.
Oh, what about
burning
earthquakes?
It down?
Are earthquakes created man-made?
Tectonic plates?
Like just earthquakes, like when there's an earthquake. Like I heard something the other day.
Tectonic plates moving underneath?
Yeah.
I'm assuming in 2023 they got machines to press a button and give you an earthquake tomorrow.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really not that hard. I would assume that. Well, dude, there's underground civilizations. I touched on that a little bit in Level With Me, but there's underground civilizations, not just a bunker or like cans of food. Cities
below the underground 8 mile barrier, or
of course, yeah. Nothing ever has got past 7.8 miles.
But these other civilizations that are under us are below the 8 mile barrier.
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Nope. And I'm not talking about civilizations. I'm talking about a lot of rich people. A lot of people. And dude, they're present day. Again, CNN doesn't go over it. Fox doesn't go over it. So no people know that what's really happening. They're still pulling children from under the ground. They're still saving children, trafficked children, underground cities, underground bunkers. That there's cities down there of God knows what's going on. They've admitted it many times that they have city structures designed for the wealthy underneath the ground right now, like people living there. And again, because there's no, mainstream anything about it. Actually, CNN had one article, but their article was more business related. The future of business. I wish your producer was there. It was like the future of business, underground businesses, what to do underground and how to, the internet's already underground and what we can do to thrive underground. It's like, whoa. Truth in plain sight, but at the same time, yeah, there's underground cities, underground civilizations too. Yeah, I'm sure. The world's not what we think it is. So once you can get away from the boring religion of balls, people just love balls. I don't know.
Do you know that there's a city in Mexico where the city's everything's underground? Do you know about that city?
I have heard that there are public places.
It's the leather capital of Central and North America. Yeah. So, wow.
Well, again, that's just them being public about it.
And it's an old underground city, like really old, and it's still functioning. Does anyone know where that is? Wow, that's interesting.
No, I don't. I should by the time this movie's over, because I'm learning on the fly with this topic, man.
It's where Saddleback Leather is. It's the headquarters for Saddleback Leather. There's an underground city there. Okay, I gotta go. Hey,
I wouldn't be
John,
surprised.
You the man, brother. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you being patient with the ignorant class.
No, don't worry. Now, I was never mad at anyone on the show or even mad. Good. I wasn't even mad today at all. Sometimes my passion can sound angry, but you
didn't sound angry. You sound passionate.
Sometimes my passion can sound angry, but what it really is I'm sick of this world and their closed mind. I'm sick of it.
I understand
so much that we could have a peaceful, loving world that we all want in a week if we could stop being so stupid and start actually using our God-given common sense and coming together. Even topics that are sketchy to people, it's like, look, at the end of the day, goddamn well you have no evidence that you're spinning. You have no evidence of anything globular, anything spherical, any curvature, you have nothing. You have no self-experience to prove anything that you were taught as a child. So stop the people like Matthew, okay? That's how you need to be. I have no idea. I'm not going to let emotion get involved. I'm going to take the information. I'm gonna utilize the information. I'm gonna look into that, and then I'm gonna maybe go back to NASA's website and look around there, and then make my determination. But the point I'm trying to make for Sevan specifically is you can know though, but you can know. This is the one that you can know. You can know this.
I need to get the P1000 and go to the water's edge.
That's a good start. That is a great start, man. Go pee.
Hey, when your movie comes out, please reach out to me. I'd love to watch it and promote it and talk about it on my podcast.
Old World Order. I will have links up on hibbelerproductions.com shortly with how to support the project and everyone that's going to be in. I have a lot of great people in this one, man. Great minds in this one. Respected people. So I'm excited.
Peace and love, brother.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Bye. Holy shit. Hey, you ever been like, oh man, I want to go with all the cool kids in high school and like ride with them to the party, and then you get in and the guy driving is just hauling ass down the freeway, switching lanes like crazy, and you feel like you're gonna die and you just want out of the car? Yeah.
That was that intense for you?
It wasn't like the information was that intense, but it was just like holy Adderall. Like it was just like bop, 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 bop. And it was a little too much. It was a little out there for me. A little out there. I do love like getting into that stuff and like talking about it, like in an entertainment sense. But like
I needed to interrupt him and I couldn't.
You
like,
couldn't.
I couldn't.
That was like too fucking much, you know?
I needed to kind of lead him down some ways to like try to like I know that he has the keys to some of the doors I need unlocked, but he wouldn't let me I wanted to lead him down some alleyways and like see if he could unlock some doors for me. But
dude, some of the chat conversations were hilarious, and then some of them weren't that great. I always feel like, guys, when we invite people onto the show, we've made this analogy before. They're in our living room, so even if we completely disagree and we feel that they're batshit crazy, we still just want to be like,
that guy's batshit. I didn't get batshit crazy from that guy
at all. It's a little out there for me. I don't live in his world. That's not. That to me is like I said, it's like entertainment. It's like one of those things like I sit down and it's fun to like talk about, and I think it's really cool. And there's obviously a lot of information that we don't know, right? In some of the stuff that he was saying, most of the people even agree in the chat too, right? Like it's like he'll hit one thread about the Rockefeller starting school, the General Board of Education that was just funded by the Rockefellers that just poofed out of thin air, that they just put the name on.
You've talked to me about that for the last year. You shared stories with me.
They've eroded Socratic method out of the schools, and so therefore that is critical thinking, and that is obvious. And I think a lot of people in that generally listen to this would agree with that. So I feel like there's little threads of it where I'm like, okay, and then all of a sudden it was just like the whole World War II thing, like the no planes in 9/11, like some of that
Sasquatch.
It was a little
no dinosaurs
out there for me. I'm not totally bought in on this like flat Earth thing at all. So, but I love to engage in it. I love to toss around ideas and like think about it, but. It was a little much, but his films are good, so you guys should go check that out. But again, I feel for me it's more entertainment, not enlightenment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just surrounded by so many people who believe their own narrative, that they have they don't know they have no line demarcation of what's real and not real.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surrounded by people who think that they say stuff, well, the science has said, or red means stop, or the calendar, they took 2 weeks off the calendar and now my life is 2 weeks shorter. I'm surrounded by that everywhere I go. I'm surrounded by people who think that because that they don't recognize that gravity is an explanation for a phenomenon. Like they can't distinguish between stories that they're using versus something that we could all empirically agree on.
Yeah. And the other thing too.
And so when I see someone who's willing to really push on the
status quo narratives,
or just on the definition of things, just like like we live in a world where if it can't be sensed and it can't be measured, it doesn't exist.
Right.
And so the next question is well, then maybe there's a measurement that we can't we haven't developed yet.
Yeah.
Conceived of yet. Well, and it's like, now you're sort of in this world of imagination, but it's imagination, and other people just drift into that shit. Like, I mean, they heard the story about the milkmaids and how vaccines were found with the mosquitoes, and now people are just like fucking gung ho. You could ask 1,000 people about the polio virus, and they all will fucking say it's real, and they say, how do you know? Because I was told by the TV. Like, he's absolutely right. But did you do 15 minutes of Googling to see when the curve went down? And no, they haven't.
Yeah. And here's the thing I struggle with. I feel like a lot of the claims that he was bringing to the table had just as much evidence as the things he was refuting. Like he didn't bring any like hard evidence to any of the claims that he was making for me. And then he kept saying, well, there's no evidence for this. And then I was like, well, there's also kind of no evidence for what you're saying either.
Right. Okay. Well, you know what's funny? You say that is I watched a video that was supposed to debunk all flat Earth. And instead of addressing, someone sent it to me today, it had like 8 million views, and all the comments were making fun of flat Earth. And then what was so funny is that I watched the video, and the entire video was never argued any of the points of what this guy would say. It was just re-emphasizing why the Earth is round. Like you had to believe shit.
Yeah. And
it's like, I appreciate this guy being like, he doesn't want to believe anything. Well, that's the part where I'm getting a little worried about him. Like,
it's like, do you float off into space at that point, or
do you believe that book? Like, we already know that everything's bullshit. Why can't we just not believe? But at the end of the day, for people who don't know, if you watch his movies, the premise of his movie, and correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, is that basically we're enslaved, and that there's resources outside of what we think our boundaries are that we should have access to that we don't.
Right. Yeah, that was kind of the premise that I had too. It was
such a fucking happy life. I mean, I don't mean to be a fucking asshole, but like
that's where I was kind of at too. Like, I don't have a dog in the fight.
Such a good
you know
life.
what I mean? Like, I'm kind of like, well, tell me how that's gonna help me out when I have to wake up at 4:45 in the morning.
And like all that school shit, like
believer. That's okay. I'm comfortable with that. And if there was new information that presented that completely topped the world, like I'm comfortable with that too. And the reason why I was getting upset with the chat was because I just feel like when we bring people in, it's perfectly fine for people to disagree or whatever. But like right when it like goes to like the personal attacks on him as he's like getting on the thing, it's like, come on, guys, just be chill, be cool, be wrong with him, but don't be like, this guy's a fucking blah 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 blah. It's kind of like, all right, I get it. You disagree.
Well, unless you're gonna give money, you can do that.
Yeah, and shout out A for all the tips donation, and some of the stuff he was saying was actually pretty funny. And some of it I actually agreed with, but somebody has to defend the guest that we bring on.
John Young, I'm starting to think Sevan didn't have to pee.
No,
I do.
Not holding it. I was with him in the car one time, and he held it for like 4.5 hours.
I do. If you guys knew how many, oh shit. Our games chat is just fucking. I think we're getting. I think we're getting roasted in there.
I saw the games chat too.
So Andrew Hiller just said, dude, Sevan just set a record for most consecutive words said without interrupting.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Okay. What's go? So Greg Glassman comes on tomorrow. Back to reality. And then the evening we have the CrossFit Games update show. How did Taylor and JR show go today?
It looked like it was going good. I was coaching through the time because they switched it from 11 to noon our time. So I just kind of like peeked in briefly.
Do you think we need to pull this show off the air?
I don't feel like, no, dude. I really just think it's the 49ers thing. Like,
okay.
I think that is the hot button ticket. And I do think that any refuting of that or discussion of it is dangerous for us, especially right now, dude. We got fucking 50 athletes coming on in the next 2 weeks.
I know.
This is going to be insane. And I just don't want to screw with the channel, right? I just don't want to, I don't want to do thrusters with a baby strapped to my chest, bro. That's all. That's all I'm saying, dude.
I want to see. Oh man, their show's killing it. Oh my goodness.
And if you guys want to see the show that was on this morning, you could go to Rumble, you could go to Twitter, you could see it. It'll be uploaded by tomorrow morning on audio version. So you guys, there's plenty of ways to see it. It's just not going to be on YouTube for the obvious reasons.
Dude, this show Brandstetter was on there.
Yeah, just for a second, it was hilarious because he told Taylor not to cuss in the first like few minutes so it doesn't get flagged, and then he did. Yeah, and
David like you and Brent on the pegboard dumbbell workout, and thinking to myself, like, I wonder what would have.
God, Vellner looks good. His jaw looks all fucking square and shit, huh?
Yeah, he's chiseled jaw, manly features. We should have had Vellner and this guy on. That would have been hilarious. That would have been a mashup for the times, huh?
What would you do, Patrick? Would you just be like, hold on, Mr. Trudeau, this guy's saying the earth is round or flat. Which one? What do we
What are we believing again?
what do we believe again?
Okay,
Sorry, Patrick. Sevan, will today's earlier show be on Rumble? Did you already pull that up?
Yeah, I did. It is on
Okay.
Rumble. 100%. It is on Rumble. It's right there. 11 hours ago. Go to Rumble, type in the Sevan Podcast into the search, click it, follow it too while you're there, and watch the show.
If you want to skip a lot of it, you can skip the first 30 minutes and then shit starts getting fucking real.
Well, people are already watching it because there's like no activity really on our Rumble channel. But today's show has 442 views and 7 comments already.
Yeah, the comments it's crazy. The comments are pouring in.
Yeah, so people are checking it out there, and you guys should go see it if you want to. Oh, it has more than that. Oh, I just updated on my thing. Wow.
You don't want to listen to that one. You need to see that one. That guy starts drawing some pictures of the immune system.
Yeah.
The interesting contrast between the science and the morning with tonight. I know. In hindsight, I wish I wouldn't have put both these shows on the same day. That was
I know it did that. Well, that's my fuck up. But
we didn't know.
Hibbeler he kept getting moved. Remember, shit kept coming up, so he was like on the schedule. Then it moved, and then it moved, and then it moved, and it just moved today. And I had already had Jonathan on it, so it was probably the Freemasons that lined them up together on the same day.
Someone wrote in our chat, Sevan trying to steer a runaway freight train is the best part of this.
I know. That's what it felt like. I was like, oh, shit, we're swerving around on the freeway now.
One of the athletes just sent us a text and gently said no. Did you see that?
No.
Oh.
Sorry, I haven't looked at it. Oh, yeah.
Do you have a date that you're flying?
Monday. No. Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday. Okay. And where do you fly into?
Dane County.
Oh, you fly right into Madison.
Well, I mean, I go from, I think, Oakland or SF into some other transfer, like Chicago or something, and then go from Chicago to Madison.
Oh, you do? You have a flight from Chicago to Madison?
Yeah, does anything go to direct?
I don't. Yeah, if you leave from Oakland, there's a or San Jose, there's a Southwest flight. But why don't you drive from Chicago? Too long?
Yeah, I'll just fly. I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm driving because someone told me. I think Hiller told me to drive Chicago.
I mean, I'm driving home on Monday. Grace and I will drive home from Madison to Chicago and then fly out to Chicago. Last year, we went into Chicago for the city for a couple hours.
It's 147 miles.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
2 hours and 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Probably about the same exact time as the flight, to be honest.
When am I leaving? When am I leaving for what? To go to the bathroom? I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, probably.
I'm so hungry. I been just moving, grooving all day, and just got in barely in time for this.
I need to eat too. Did I tell you I'm doing something with Sean Pastuch, the Active Life?
No. What are you doing? I have some good news too. After
what?
I got an email that you're going to be happy about.
Oh.
Yeah. It's cool.
God. I wish I could. God, it's been a whirlwind of shit to just fucking coming down the pipe in the last 2 weeks.
Dude, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. All those athletes too. Like, wait till people see the schedule. I know we don't have them all loaded up on the show, but it's intense.
So we don't have anything scheduled Saturday.
Nope, just a live call-in. I did that on purpose, so that way it's like somewhat chill before it goes. Yeah.
Okay, we have Lazar Jukic on Sunday.
Yep, he'll be our first. We
have the enhanced games guy coming on Monday morning.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So are we gonna have people Sunday night, Monday night?
Yep, all the way. I'm guessing as much as we could get them. I'm thinking probably the 28th and 27th, like that Thursday, Friday before, might be hard to get a few people into that slot. But I think we'll probably have that whole week filled, and then Saturday will probably be the cutoff because most of them will be traveling and shit like that.
Listen to this, guys. On Tuesday we have Carolyn Lambre. That's the genius behind Mr. Adler. Then we have Manon Anganese, also same day. Then we have Alex Gazan back on.
Yep.
Then on Wednesday, so far, we have Bronislavski and Rebecca Vidison.
Yep.
Then on Thursday, we have Jelly Then we have the Taylor JR Programming Show. And then we have Arthur Semenoff and Kelly Baker.
Yep.
On Thursday night.
Yeah.
On Friday, we have Ariel Lowen, and then back to CrossFit Updating Show. That means there'll be someone else on Friday morning also.
Yep. And it's not updated yet. There's a couple more athletes that got back to us that I'll plug in there too.
Oh, I see you got Mikkel Weslowski and Jake Douglas scheduled.
Yep.
Olivia Kerstetter.
Yep.
Do we hear back from Danielle Brandon?
Not yet. But I mean, that's her. That's typical.
Okay.
Ken Walters. Smart man.
I'll pick both. I'll pick both you gonna up. I'll pick both you gonna up. Are you going to the games, Jeremy? I should probably talk to you on the phone about that. If you're going to the games, we should probably. I got a car in Chicago.
Me too. Well, I don't have it in Chicago. I got it in Dane County. Did you get a convertible?
I'm a badass driver. Who wants? Okay. What should I say to her? Did anyone? Oh, has anyone ever told you how cool you are, Danielle?
Perfect. It is almost 1 a.m. there, so that's actually probably the perfect time to hit her.
Told you how cool you are. There you go. Andrew, is Andrew awake? Andrew, can you come in here for a second if you're not busy?
I need to go eat. I need to.
Okay, bye. Me too. Okay. Bye.
Sorry.
That's okay. Bye.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to ask him one question.
The answer is yes.
Oh.
I don't know.
If you're in Chicago, can't you just carjack? Yeah, good point. Can I shuttle some of you? I've got a minivan. I love a minivan.
I don't know, Dick, but are you gonna
Hey, Hiller, we need to. You don't have to come on, but we need to talk and figure out what we're doing on Monday. If Monday's your day, I guess we have time. Okay.
Are you signing off, or am I just ditching?
Oh yeah. Bye bye. See you.